Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to week 2 of Live with Friday Night Drive. I'm Jimmy Musial alongside Kyle Nabors. We are officially underway here. There are a lot of games that have been happening at the 7 o'clock hour, and a lot of crazy games that are pretty much already happening, and others that are about to start as well. Kyle, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys tuned in to any of the Friday Night Drive podcasts this week, Steve Soucy and I talked all week long. This is maybe the best non-conference slate we've ever seen in week 2. I mean, it's just absolutely loaded with just intriguing games all over the place. Some are already started. Some even get into halftime already. We're going to have reporters jumping in here pretty soon. But it's going to be a fun 3 hours with you guys.
And there's been a lot, like we were saying, there's been a lot of games that have been happening right now. We actually already have one in the Fox Valley Conference that is at the half. That is one of the games that we are monitoring. And Alex Kantecki is actually at that game. It's Crystal Lake Central against Cary Grove. Cary Grove currently up at the half, 10-7. Crystal Lake Central was able to score on a 5-yard touchdown pass from quarterback Drew Penza to wide receiver Tommy Hammond, who actually had himself a pretty nice game last week. And if we could actually get Neil to pull up we got a nice little clip for you of the touchdown catch from Cary Grove, Crystal Lake Central. Absolutely. It was a great pass from quarterback Drew Penza. So again, Crystal Lake Central and Cary Grove at the half, 10-7. Like I was saying, Alex Kantecki is at that game, and we will have reporters jumping in here pretty soon. So when we can get Alex to take some time with us, we'll definitely have you guys. We'll definitely talk to him for a little bit. We do have some other scores that are happening around the area. I do have my nice little whiteboard this time around. Thank you very much, Steve Soucy, for the feedback, by the way, because this is already a game changer. It's nothing compared to the one that he has, but it's still pretty nice.
It takes a lot of practice to get a whiteboard like Soucy's going right now.
It sure does. So in the second quarter, we actually do have Prairie Ridge and Crystal Lake South, another Fox Valley Conference matchup. Joe Stevenson is out there covering that one. Currently 14-14. A little bit more offense in that one, especially with after Prairie Ridge put up a
just 6 points last week against Jacob. Surprising. I mean, great effort from the defense. But yeah, I was a little concerned for the offense from Prairie Ridge after week 1. Doing better against Crystal Lake South in week 2. Not really surprising to see them make the adjustment. So,
well, it's a Prairie Ridge football team coached by Chris Schrempf, and of course, you have a feeling that after only putting up 6 points, even though the defense was fantastic, they're definitely going to make some adjustments and figure some things out. Yeah. Another game that we have been watching. Jake Bartlesen is over at Lincoln Way East, Batavia, and the last score that we saw for that one was 7-0 Lincoln Way East, and I believe that was in the first quarter. We are definitely keeping up with our Twitter X feeds. I still can't get used to that at all. But
that's the marquee matchup between two of the top teams in the state. That's number 3 and number 4 in the Friday Night Drive power rankings. Lincoln Way East really, that game was close against Kenwood after the first quarter. They really pulled away, took control of that down the stretch, though. This is it's a step up against Batavia, though. These are 2 power programs. Really, really interested to see how this game plays out.
Of course, and if you guys don't remember from last season, Lincoln Way East made it to the Class 8A title game against Loyola, and Batavia made it to Class 7A against Mount Carmel. So both of those teams definitely doing going to do their best to try and make another state run this season. We do have some other scores that are starting to come in here. Steve Soucy is actually over at Joliet Catholic and Providence. They are at 10-0 right now. Joliet Catholic is up 10-0 over Providence, and that is about a little over 5 minutes left in the second quarter of that one.
I want to jump in actually right here because it's a good time to do it. I'm actually watching that game live on YouTube right now, Joliet Catholic and Providence. It's hard to kind of find all the different links to different games. Some of them through the National Federation of High School. That's easy enough. But if you know of a YouTube link for a live feed of a game right now, you can throw that in the chat if you're watching on Facebook, Friday Night Drive Facebook page, or if you're watching on Shaw Local's YouTube page. You can throw that into the chat. I'd really appreciate it. It makes it easier to follow along here. And also, of course, we appreciate anyone who jumps into the chat. You can comment, ask us questions, ask for score updates. We'll do our best to find those for you. And we're going to have, as we said, our team of reporters coming in. And we actually got our first guy out here ready to jump in with us. Joe Stevenson is over covering Prairie Ridge and Crystal Lake South. I didn't realize that game had gotten to halftime, but the fact that Joe's sitting here in our studio means that it has to be there. So, Joe, I'm going to bring Joe on screen now. Joe, how are things going over there?
Hey, this is a great game. South jumped out to a 14-0 lead, throwing the ball really well with Caden Casamino hitting Colton Hess on 2 touchdowns. And, Prairie Ridge put together a great drive, got it to 14-7. And at that point, I was kind of thinking, it had a chance of getting out of hand for Crystal Lake South. Prairie Ridge comes back and scores the last 17 points of the half, kicks a field goal on the last play of the half after, and get this, a 46-yard hook and lateral play. It was Luke Vanderweel. Almost they threw the pass to Eli Loading, Joey Vanderweel to Eli Loading. He pitches it back. Luke Vanderweel runs it down, almost got in, gets to the 3-yard line. They kicked a field goal. And so Prairie Ridge down 14-0 is now up 17-14 at halftime.
What do you think happened with the offense to get it going after, they struggled offensively last week in the opener. They won 6-0, and then to come out and be down 14-0, you definitely had to be thinking, oh, no, what's going on with the PR offense?
Yeah, and they actually ran offense pretty well. They were just kind of grinding it out, not any big plays. South came up with 2 really good stops, stopped them at the 3-yard line, and then drove 97 yards for its second touchdown. Earlier in the game, Prairie Ridge had driven down to like the 17, and South stopped them there on downs. So, two good defensive stops by South on downs. Hold on a second. I got the numbers here.
Joe, you got your stats in front of your camera, though, buddy.
Oh, sorry about that. Prairie Ridge has, check this out. So 233 total yards. That's like almost 100 more than last week already. And South with 217 total yards, 192 through the air for Caden Casamino. So great game going on here.
Between go ahead, Jim.
Oh, no. Yeah. I wanted to ask because the Casamino and the 2 receivers that he has, Colton Hess and Michael Prokos, I know that they have a decent amount of height. Has that been something significant so far? I mean, it's a close game right now, but has that had any impact in this game so far?
Yeah, the 2 touchdown passes to Colton Hess, he threw the ball, he kind of just throws it up. I think he's like 6'4", 6'5", and he kind of throws those up. It's a really tough matchup. Prokos isn't nearly as tall. He's like 6 foot. He's so fast and so sure-handed. He's kind of I think he's going to be kind of the guy that they look to on third downs when they, kind of drag route across the middle and hit him. And he's a good yard after the catch guy. And he's got, hold on a second. He's got 4 for 66. Hess, 2 for 52. Sasha Summers, he's another big guy that they had. He's like 6'5". He has 3 for 54. He had a real long play that helped set up the second touchdown.
Nice.
Okay.
Well, they've got like 3 passes for like 35, 40, and 41 yards.
There you go.
All right. Hey, Joe, we'll let you go. But before we do, I don't know if you've seen Alex Kanteki's over covering Cary Grove, Crystal Lake Central. That game's 10-7 at half, Cary Grove. Based on what we've seen so far in these first 6 quarters, man, the FEC is looking like it's going to be a wild ride this year.
I agree. I think you might have like 6 teams at least, that may, take turns beating each other. You're looking at the D155 schools that I have and Alex has tonight, and then toss in Jacobs and Huntley. And, Burlington Central's a pretty good team too. But yeah, I think it's gonna be really fun. We've kind of talked about this, but it doesn't seem like there's the powerhouse Cary Grove and PR teams that we've seen in the past where, okay, we start the season, this team's going to go to state. But I think that's going to make for a really fun, season with parity.
All right.
All right, Joe, we'll let you get back out there. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk to you after the game.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah, I should have time this week.
All right.
I love these. I drove in at 6:30 and it said 17 minutes on the clock, and I was just like, yes.
It's a beautiful sight when you see that.
It is. All right, guys.
Have
a good one.
Yep.
All right, and that was Joe Stevenson. He is out covering Prairie Ridge and Crystal Lake South. Again, that one at the half right now is at 17-14. And the reason why I had asked about these receivers for Crystal Lake South is because of the fact that they are so tall, and especially in high school. We already saw it with Marion Central last week against Richmond Burton. Throw it up there and the guy can go get it. Christian Bettenker being the main receiver, obviously, for Marion Central, but now Crystal Lake South has 3 different guys that they could possibly go to.
Well, what is interesting about the Crystal Lake South offense in particular, and Central kind of run the same style. South was a little more run-based, but they're out of the shotgun. They're obviously the exact opposite of what Cary Grove and Prairie Ridge is doing. When we've seen Prairie Ridge struggle, it's usually been against pass-heavy teams like those defensive backs in the Fox Valley Conference. You see a lot of running attacks. It's a closed conference. So when you come up against a pass-heavy team like Crystal Lake South or Crystal Lake Central, there certainly is an advantage of having some big guys on the edge.
Very, very difficult. We'll have to see if, Prairie Ridge does have that 3-point lead right now at the half. So definitely something that we'll continue to monitor.
This is a game that really all night long or all week long, I've been waiting to see how it would play out. Sterling and Wheaton St. Francis. Dan Wusso is covering that game for us out in Sauk Valley. It's just before halftime out there. It's 7-7. I expected a low-scoring game. Wheaton St. Francis not shying away from a challenge going up against a team like Sterling. And it's looking like a good one out there.
Yeah, and the last, the last play that we saw there was, it looks like Dan was saying it was Joseph Holcomb, and he hits Andre Claver for an 18-yard gain, 2 yards, 2 plays later, Holcomb in for a 5-yard touchdown run. So yes, that one looking like it's just before the half, and Wheaton St. Francis and Sterling at 7-7. By the way,
no, I'm laughing over here because Eddie Carifio's covered DeKalb and Crystal Lake, or not Crystal Lake, Plainfield South for us, and he started his tweet with "Holy Holiness," and it just made me chuckle. I'm not sure on the first name of this player here, Kathina. But talking about Eddie says he believes it's been 4 sacks for him so far tonight against Plainfield South. I'm gonna go ahead and say that that young man is going to be a nominee for Friday Night Drive Team of the Week.
Oh, absolutely, and maybe he can get his hands on one of those fantastic belts because I don't know, those things are just so cool.
It went to Cary Grove's Jack Rosen, defensive back in week 1. Took home the belt. Yep. We got I think 11 more of those to hand out. Might have I think it's 11. The math, I'm not good at math. So let's just go ahead and move on from there.
I was a comm major. It's okay. No, math is not my thing either. But by the way, if you're just joining us, welcome to Live with Friday Night Drive. I'm Jimmy Musial with Kyle Nabors. Definitely want to thank our wonderful sponsor, SGKR Law. Have been absolutely fantastic, and Candlelight Inn as well. And again, we're watching a lot of scores that are going on around the area. By the way, I did see an updated score for Nazareth and York. So this is a really big game, especially for Nazareth, because they had that loss against Kankakee last week.
Yeah.
It was pretty close. Steve Soucy was out covering that one. It was pretty close at the end, but there was just something. Seuss was just saying there was something going on with Nazareth where it just didn't seem like things were clicking.
Yeah, all night long they fell down 20-6. Were able to get back in that game and tie it up. Kankakee took the lead back, and yeah, it just felt like it was a struggle all night for the Roadrunners. They play a very tough schedule this year, and starting out with Kankakee was a tough test to begin with. It didn't get any easier with York. What Did you give me a score on that one?
So actually, but I was about to say a score, but now I have an even more updated score for you because Josh Welge is out there covering that one. There's a little over 5 minutes left in the second quarter, and it looks like a Sean Winton 19-yard touchdown pass to Chris Danko on a 3rd and long, and it is now York up against Nazareth 21-7.
Yeah, that's again the Nazareth offense getting off to a slow start. I don't want to take anything away from York, coming off a terrific season. High expectations for the Dukes this year. This is a really, really good way to start.
Well, I talked to Soucy earlier today, and he was mentioning how York has kind of just like all of a sudden just power punched their way through the last couple of seasons, especially with last season.
You talked traditionally when you look at the West Suburban Silver, it's been Glenbard West. It's been, back in the day, Oak Park River Forest. You've had Hinsdale Central, who I know they've had a tougher time last year, finished at 4-5, but Hinsdale Central has been good. Lions York has not been the team that you think of at the top of these standings. They really asserted themselves last year and are playing well to start this season.
Absolutely. And the last score that we actually saw, I'm just looking through my wonderful board here. I'm even looking at it and it's pretty. But we've got Lincoln Way East and Batavia as much as I know right now. Lincoln Way East still up on Batavia 7-0. Again, Jake Bartlesen is out there covering that one. And by the way, just saw an interesting stat from Eddie Carifio. He said that DeKalb has run 14 plays and they have 254 yards out of it. They're doing really well. I mean, I know that it was a tough game for them last week against Sycamore.
Listen, the Barbs are playing really well. This was a matchup I expected DeKalb to really roll in.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I expected. So 14 plays on 254 yards. So that I would say that's pretty efficient.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's a game. This goes out west, and thank you for NUIC football, the great Twitter account to follow if you're interested in Western football. Does a great job on Friday nights. Lena Winslow 24-0 over Fulton early in the third quarter there. I really thought, and this is just one of those things where I got to learn my lesson here. Lena Winslow is just the class of the NUIC until I'm told otherwise or I'm proven otherwise. I thought maybe Fulton could sneak up on this team and give Lena Winslow a game, but it looked like the Panthers are reasserting themselves with quite a bit of authority, I'd say, in this one.
Well, absolutely. And this one is in the third quarter right now with a little under 9 minutes remaining. Little under 9 minutes remaining. There was another one that came up. It was Forest and Dakota. But, Lena Winslow graduated a lot. They graduated a lot of kids, and from that state championship team. But at the same time, it's a wonderful program that just keeps refilling.
And that's what they did graduate a lot. But there's two things about that. One, it's a 1A school. They're going to graduate a lot, pretty much every year because of it.
Every year,
because the difference with them being a 1A school though is because of the history of Lena Winslow, they don't have the numbers problems that you sometimes run into in 1A. Not as much, maybe it's not as big of a problem with Lena Winslow. So when you're able to have a little deeper roster than you normally have in 1A, and Lena Winslow is frankly blowing out a lot of games, a lot of those reserves are getting meaningful minutes in varsity. So those guys are prepared. So that's kind of why they've been able to keep this going like they have. But still, they lost a lot. This is a good Fulton team. And once again, Lena Winslow, as I said, just goes, nope. It's still the Panthers conference.
Yep, absolutely. And until proven otherwise, it'll continue to be that way. By the way, I do have we do have an update. We got an update from Tim Frolig, who is out covering Johnsburg and Reed Custer. We actually just got a score here from quarterback AJ. I'm not going to be able to get this, but AJ Brevieri
I think that was pretty good.
I would like to say I like to pronounce names the correct way. I know with Wheaton St. Francis and their quarterback, it's going to be a little difficult. I know we've been trying that as well. But AJ Breviary to Caden Frost for a 7-0 lead over Reed Custer. About 5:44 left in the first quarter. This is actually a pretty nice clip that I just got through sending over to Neil. Neil, if you don't mind bringing that up right now, that would be great. Thank you. That was a pretty nice catch. It was nice. It was nice little.
I'm not gonna lie, I got completely distracted by the horn to even pay that much attention to the catch.
Okay, listen. I don't know.
Let's roll that back one more time.
That is unbelievable. That did not. Okay, first of all, that did not sound like a horn. That sounded like something that belongs on a train of some kind, because that was absolutely crazy. So as you just saw there, really good pass from AJ Breviary to Caden Frost. Skyhawks are up 7-0. They actually are coming off of a nice win over Woodstock North last weekend as well. I believe that game was 25-12. And Skyhawks are doing what they do.
Yeah. Neil, can you throw that up one more time? I love the horn, but there's actually one more reason here. See, just give him a second here, everyone.
No, it's all
good.
See if
Neil can pull that up for us.
There we go. We got it.
So I just wanted to show that again, because that was actually Caden Frost. Really good footwork at the line of scrimmage there. He got by the defender and was able to beat him to the spot there. And I actually thought the defender did a pretty decent job of trying to recover here, but just not able to get back in time. Caden Frost with a nice move to get off the line for the touchdown.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, I'm actually rewatching that on Tim's feed right now, and that was that was actually very it was a heck of a move by Caden Frost. So again, Skyhawks are up 7-0 there. We just got an update from, let's see, actually Dan Wuso has an update from Wheaton St. Francis and Sterling. 34.5 seconds left in the half. Milajovic, I'm so sorry. He hits Ian Willis in stride on a deep over, a good pass for 25 yards. So Wheaton St. Francis now up on Sterling 14-7. Look, I can't just say Wheaton St. Francis's quarterback. I'm doing the best that I can.
I'm on my work laptop doing this. I have a to-do list, and right now I'm going in here and I'm putting a note to myself: call Coach Bob McMillan for a pronunciation, because I shouldn't be I'm so sorry. I really should not be laughing at that, but I hate that I can't get it right, and I am usually so good with names. Like, this gives you an appreciation for how good the pros are at doing this, like live TV, like millions of people. I would just that just makes me a little sick thinking
about it. Gosh, absolutely.
All right, hey, let's we got Steve Soucy, who's over at Joliet Catholic in Providence. That game is now 13-0 at halftime. So we're going to bring Souce in and get an update from him now. I'm going to add Souce here. Let's see. Souce, buddy, what's up?
How you doing, fellas?
I'm doing all right. I actually have the YouTube stream of your game up, and I'm trying to see if I can spot you while you chat with us here. But what's going on with the game?
Well, it has been kind of a defensive scuffle, and Providence has been making some mistakes that has pretty much led to all of Joliet Catholic's points. The first field goal came off of a fumble. The second touchdown, or the first touchdown, came off an interception. And right before the halftime break, they pushed in a score to make it 13-0. So not a lot of offense here. Providence is well under 100 yards total offense on the half.
Is kind of what you expected, or I mean, we knew this would be I didn't expect a ton of points, but now, I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of been what I thought. kind of expected a little bit more offense, from Providence at this point. They're at about 50 yards of total offense.
Really? Only 50 yards?
Definitely. They haven't been able to get the run game going. What they have done is a couple of decent-sized passes, which accounts for almost all of their offense. So definitely not what I was expecting from Providence at this point. But Joliet Catholic's been giving them a lot of trouble. Obviously, with a guy like Dylan Johnson on the defensive line, he's been kind of blowing some things up, causing a lot of havoc. So unless they can get a little bit more protection there, I have a hard time believing Providence is going to be able to get a whole heck of a lot of offense done. But the big thing for them is they got to negate the turnovers, because both of them turned into immediate points for Joliet Catholic, who, to be honest, hasn't really been moving the ball all that well either. But the great field position has led to most of their points.
So it's one of the great things about you moving over to Friday Night Drive full time this year was, like, we're at the game tonight, but we also have Steve Millar over there covering it. So you can kind of keep your eye on what's happening in the state a little bit more. Anything standing out to you as you've been scrolling through social media and getting updates?
Well, just kind of keeping an eye on that Lincoln Way East Batavia game. Obviously, a big time game with key teams, but definitely that's been interesting to me, seeing that Batavia caught the ball up on the 1 yard line when it looked like they were about to go in. But maybe Batavia can get away from what killed them last year with the mistakes that they had made. Another score that kind of surprised me out of the box, and maybe I've misgauged them. Lincoln Way Central is off to a 17-0 lead over Evanston tonight. The Knights could potentially move to 2-0, and that was a team that I wasn't really sure what to expect of, but potentially off to a really good start there.
All right, Soucy. Well, judging by this YouTube stream, a dance performance is just starting. I can hear it in the background, so we'll let you go, man. We'll talk to you again. Okay?
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, later, Soucy.
All righty. You know what? I have no idea how you were able to get a word in because of how much was going on and with how much was going on around him. That's absolutely crazy. So wonderful job by you. I'm telling you. So that was Steve Soucy, and he was out at Providence Joliet Catholic. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this something like this kind of happened last season between these two schools as well. Joliet Catholic, I believe, had a little bit more offense last season when they played against Providence, but then they rematched in the Class 4 or 5. It was a Class 4A. It was 4A. Class 4A playoffs, and Providence was able to pull out the win, and then they went on to go to the state title game. So, again, Joliet Catholic definitely making things tough for Providence, as Steve was saying. However, you kind of wonder, does it have that same kind of narrative this season as well?
Well, it's interesting because the script is kind of flipped this year with these two teams. Last year, JCA was a team that everyone thought was going to get to the 4A state title game. And Providence was under the first-year coach of Tyler Plants, who came in with high expectations coming over from Notre Dame, but you didn't really know what to expect of the Celtics. They got hot at the end of the regular season and took down JCA in the playoffs. Obviously ended up in the 4A state title game against Sacred Heart Griffin. And then, you come back this year and Providence did lose a decent amount of talent off that state title game, or team, that team that appeared in the state championship game last year. And JCA is the favorite. So, I'm not surprised to see JCA up 17-0, ahead of the game. I am a little surprised to see Providence, one, getting shut out, two, only at 50 yards of offense. So, but this is one of those cases I want to say, and I think Soucy and I mentioned this during the podcast this week. I wouldn't be surprised if this game plays out much different when these two teams will likely play again in the postseason.
Well, and on top of that, it's also, I understand, like, it's first couple of weeks, but of course these teams are, these really high quality, powerful programs are playing each other in the first 2 weeks. So it's just, it's again, this has just been absolutely crazy. I mean, if you've listened to the podcast and you've heard about the teams that are playing each other. I mean, we're talking about them right now. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. So yeah, but we do have so Dan Wuso again is at Wheaton St. Francis Sterling. That's 14-7 at the half. Josh Welge actually just got through putting a post out there for York and Nazareth. York is up 28-7 on the Roadrunners with a little over 2 minutes left there, and he did have an updated post that said Nazareth was trying to score first and goal at the 1 trailing, but that was about 57 seconds left before the half.
Well, he just tweeted, "Oh my, Malachuk fumbles inside the 1 yard, inside the 1, and York's Joe Reef recovers." So,
well, there we go.
So
unfortunately,
it looks like Josh has a good one going there and he'll join us here pretty shortly after halftime here.
Awesome. And also Tim O'Brien is out at Marist Brother Rice, and this is actually a pretty nice one as well. Marist is leading Brother Rice 24-17.
Wasn't Marist up bigger than that when we talked about it earlier?
When we were right before we started the show, actually, if I'm not mistaken, Marist was up 24-0.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm.
And we knew. Here's the thing: we knew Brother Rice got that nice 10-7 win last week,
right?
But they mainly relied on their defense for it, and we knew we had a feeling. Are they going to be able to move the ball? We know that their defense is always going to be good, but are they going to be able to score?
Well, so last week, Brother Rice grinds out a 10-7 win against Maine South, right? They used a running game and just kept a ball going, and pretty the old school type of football that you kind of grind out that win. But they're going to go up against Marist this week, another really good defense. But Marist last week as well against Glenbard West, that was a 7-6 game. Marist struggled to get much going offensively. So when they went up 24-0 in this game, I went, oh wow, like the Redhawks are running away with this one here. But you're saying 24-17?
I am saying 24-17, and actually Seuss just got through sending us a nice little private note here. I remember how I was saying that it was mainly, the defense was one of the bigger things for Brother Rice. Well, there was a blocked punt for a touchdown for Brother Rice.
There you go.
And if I'm not mistaken, there was Tim O'Brien actually did put in his tweet, Connor Stack blocks Marist punt, scoops and scores from 20 yards out. So third quarter in that one, a little under 10 minutes. Again, Marist over Brother Rice right now, 24-17.
Alex Kantecki last week had an incredibly fast football game between Prairie Ridge and Jacobs. It was 6-0 in that game. He's already at the end of the third quarter in his game again this week. Cary Grove up 10-7 over Crystal Lake Central. Tigers went for it on 4th and 10 from Cary Grove's 15, but the pass was incomplete.
Well, here's the thing. Quarterback Drew Penza,
Jason Penza.
Jason, I have been calling him Drew, and I totally apologize. I'm so sorry. So Jason Penza, again, he was injured last season, came back in week 9. It was part of that really high scoring matchup with Prairie Ridge to end the season. Comes back this year, fully healthy. They tried to get a win at Huntley last week, came up short.
Yeah.
Now this
leading
week,
that game in the fourth quarter against an 8A school,
exactly
a quality 8A team in Huntley too.
Absolutely. And of course, now they're playing against Cary Grove, who has always been one of the tougher teams in the state, and the championships and the conference titles and everything. And it's definitely proven that. So, but they were able to get some type of success, especially with that score with Tommy Hammond in the back left corner of the end zone to make it 10-7. So again, we'll have to see how the rest of that one plays out, but Alex definitely has a good game on his hands for sure.
Kankakee, coming off the win last week against Nazareth, is tied with Washington scoreless at the half. Seuss posts for us there. I never know what to expect out of the Kankakee offense over the years. There are times where they play really well, and there are games like this. Like I haven't seen the play-by-play yet, obviously, but there's just halves, full games sometimes where I just don't know exactly what the K's are doing on offense, and this just kind of feels like one of those nights.
Well, and especially after getting a win like that against a Nazareth program last week, that's to me that's pretty crazy. And obviously, in Washington coming back coming back last week to beat Caneland. I mean, that was absolutely crazy as well. But still, both those teams scoreless at the half so far. And Seuss is actually giving us some more scores here. By the way, we do have Michael Ballamy in the chat. He is also helping us out with some scores. We do have Bennett. Looks like he's putting out there Bennett Academy 14 and Moline 7, and that is at the end of the first quarter. So thank you very much, Michael. Truly appreciate that. I know he was very active with us last week.
That's an interesting matchup. Bennett going on the road to Moline, which is coming off the Maroons coming off a 9-2 season last year. Good matchup for Bennett here. So
very nice. So we also have an update from the Ottawa Streeter game. And right now that is 21-0. At the time Brian Hoxie had put his tweet out, it was about a couple minutes ago. Looks like Pirates quarterback Colby Mortensen, 10-yard touchdown run, third touchdown run of the game. So Ottawa up 21-0 right now. And Neil actually has a nice clip for us of that score. Going right up the middle there, and I don't even think he was touched on that play. So again, Ottawa up on Streeter. I think this is the 102nd time that they are playing each other in the history of these teams.
Yeah, long running rivalry there. Was it 21-0? Is that what you said there?
21-0. Yes.
Yeah, Streeter last week putting up tons of points against East Peoria. Quite a different story tonight.
Yep, absolutely. Also, let's see here. I thought I saw another update from Seuss. We have Lockport 24, Wheaton North 14, and that is at the half. We also have Morris at Morris 28 and Joliet West 12, and that is at halftime as well.
All right, now I want to go ahead and bring in Tim Cronin, who is covering Lamont and Geneva for us. Tim, how you doing this evening, sir?
Hi, gentlemen. How are you?
We're doing well. How's everything going out there?
Well, it's going great. If you're in Geneva right now, the Vikings lead 14-0 at the half. They scored on their first two possessions, drives of 7 and 11 yards. A couple of touchdowns by, let me make sure I pronounce his name correctly, Michael Rumaro. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He's looked good tonight, and so overall defensively as well. They've held Lamont to next to nothing, quite frankly. 82 yards in total, 15 yards passing, and yet their offense is about as balanced as you can get. 102 yards on the ground, 101 on the passing side for Geneva, and they look great.
Yeah, Tim, I'm guessing your first time getting a chance to see the Vikings. What do you think of them so far overall?
Well, so far so good. Obviously, they killed Matea Valley last week, 35-0, and now they've scored. I took algebra 3 times. Let's see, they've scored 49 points this year and given up none in 6 quarters. That's pretty good. If you're the head coach, you got to like how that's going.
One more thing before we let you go then. How about what does Lamont need to do to get back in this game in the second half?
Well, they've held Geneva pretty well after those first 2 series. Their problem is offense. They had a lot of it last week up at Libertyville, but so did Libertyville, which is why the score went into the 30s on each side. They just have to cut down on a couple of mistakes. They've had a lot of penalties. You get that early in the season anyway. Geneva's had a few too, but Lamont's have hurt them more.
All right. Well, thanks for jumping on with it, Tim. Have a good second half.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you, Tim. All right. So Geneva looking pretty good against Lamont, who's always a fantastic program. A lot of balanced offense from the Vikings as well. So Geneva up 14-0 at the half.
That is a proud program that is kind of been working its way back here. A lot of expectation for Geneva coming into this season. Playing well already, 14-0 against a good Lamont team. Good signs good sign for Geneva when they're going to go into a really tough Duquesne Conference schedule here soon.
By the way, speaking of the Duquesne Conference,
what do you got for us?
I do. I have an updated score from Seuss. Batavia and Lincoln Way East are now tied at 7. I'm not exactly sure if that's the I don't know if that's the half or if that is the what quarter that is exactly at right now. But that is, I was talking to Seuss about this. I was talking to you about it as well.
Yeah.
This is one of those games where it was just who do you pick? It's crazy because it's a classic toss up of a game.
Sue said not quite halftime there. Yeah, it's both of these defenses have the ability to take away what you do best. And anytime you have defenses of that caliber, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to phrase it and not sound too judgmental of a team early in the season, is there's not a lot of big plays, particularly on Lincoln Way East the last couple seasons. So they want to be in a game where it's low scoring. So this is really kind of right where I expected this to be at 7-7.
Absolutely. Well, and Jake Bartlesen is out there covering that one. Again, Lincoln Way East and Batavia right before the half are tied at 7. Thank you again, Soucy, for the update there. We do have an update from Lockport and Wheaton North. So Lockport is up 21-14. And let's see here. It looks like the Falcons come right back. Max Hauser finds Matt Kuza again, this time on a post pattern down left sideline for 77 yards, 7:39 left in the second quarter. So again, Lockport up on Wheaton North 21-14.
It's a good matchup. Was one that I was very, very interested to see how that would play out. It's a good game there. I want to bring Josh Welge in here soon. Josh is out covering York and Nazareth for us. York is up 28-7. Josh, let's see here. I think Josh let's see. Did we lose Josh? Pull Josh back up here and see if we can get him back. But as we wait and see if we can get Josh back, Sue's saying that Lockport hit a 51-yard field goal at halftime horn.
Wow. 51-yard field goal for a high school kicker. I feel like that's pretty
No, that's
tough.
very good.
Yeah.
You don't see that a lot at the high school level. I mean, you don't see a lot of teams that even attempt field goals.
Yeah.
Extra points can be dicey a lot of time. Now, when you get up into the 7A and 8A schools, you do have a large enough schools that sometimes you can find a kid. But 51 yards that is a boot for any level of football.
Well, I mean, and I don't exactly know what the weather is like out there where they're playing either, but I'm wondering if wind may have been a factor either going against or with. Either way, 51-yard field goal at the half and 24-14 Lockport. So yeah, I mean, this is, again, if you're just tuning in right now, it's live with Friday Night Drive. I'm Jimmy Musial with Kyle Nabors. We're keeping you up to date on all the scores that are going on around the area. We're getting a lot of help, obviously, from the reporters that are out there, especially you got Steve Soucy. Do we have Josh?
Yeah,
back?
we have nope. Yeah, we do have Josh back here, I believe. Although you know what? I'm going to try it one more time here. See, every time I go to bring Josh in, then all of a sudden it pops off. I think we might be having trouble getting a connection with Josh, which can be a problem when you're talking about being out at, at a football field. Can sometimes be a little troublesome. We're going to go ahead and bring Brian Hoxie in, though, who is covering Ottawa and Streeter. Was that 21-0 at halftime?
At that point, it was 21-0, and I don't see an update.
Well, we'll find out from Hawks here. So, Brian, how about what's going on in your neck of the woods?
Really, it's just been Ottawa's had the ball 3 times. They've had drives of 61, 80, and 65. And senior quarterback Colby Mortensen has 3 touchdown runs from 10, 13, and 14. On the flip side, the Ottawa defense kind of the bend, don't break tonight against a Streeter team that scored 74 points last week. Just 104 yards of total offense in the first half.
Yeah, what's been the difference this week between the Streeter offense from last week?
Well, I didn't cover the game last week. JT did, but it sounded like Streeter was able to do whatever they wanted to. And tonight, it's just a lot of pressure on quarterback Christian Benning from Streeter. He's had a couple times where
See if we get him back here just for a second. All right, I'm pull Hawks down here for a second. We'll see if we can get Hawks back up here. But how about let's see what else we got going on here. We got Michael Palome saying Fenwick 27, Ignatius 27-13 at the half.
Okay.
there, Jimmy.
There we go. We've got that one. St. Ignatius pulling out the win against St. Patrick last week for their first win of the season, and now Fenwick giving them a little bit of trouble. What's going on over by you?
I'm Soucy in the chat here with Batavia blocked a Lincoln Way East field goal at the halftime horn, 7-7 at the break. It's just kind of what I expect from those two teams. They find ways to make plays. It's what those programs do.
I was going to say it doesn't really it doesn't really seem like something out of the ordinary. And again, 7-7 at the half for those guys over there, Lincoln Way East and Batavia. We do have an update from Alex Kantecki. Cary Grove just got through doing something that they don't do a lot since probably the Quinn Priester Ben McDonald days, and yes, I am gonna say days because that was quite an era. 17-7 right now. The Trojans go for it on 4th and goal from the 5. Peyton Seberg finds a wide open Luca Vivaldelli for the touchdown, and it was only the second throw of the game for Cary Grove. I'm actually going to go ahead and I'll give that clip over to Neil.
I got you here. I
was going to say, if you don't mind, I've got whiteboard. I've got laptop. I don't know how you're doing it. I mean, this is absolutely, this is what happens. This is fun.
While we wait for Neo to load that clip up for us here, I can say this for you. A couple of things. One, really cool to see that with Peyton Seberg throwing the touchdown there. He is the son of Coach Brad Seberg, so I'm sure a little smile. Well, maybe now. Brad doesn't get a lot of smiles on the sideline during the game, but there will be a smile after the game from Brad with the touchdown throw there. And you know what? If up here, Neil, you got that one for us? All right,
pull it up.
I love the aggressiveness, by the way, there from Cary Grove and Brad Seberg. 4th and goal, could kick the field goal, go up 6 points there. Instead, You're a triple option team. You go for the play action pass, get the touchdown, put the game out of reach. Crystal Lake Central looking like it's going to fall to 0-2, a team that a lot of us here at Friday Night Drive thought could win the Fox Valley Conference. Now it is shaping up. I mean, we just talked with Joe Stevenson at halftime. Like, the Fox Valley Conference is really looking like it's people are going to be kind of punching each other in the mouth all year long, frankly. And so just because Crystal Lake Central is starting 0-2, they took those 2 losses against Huntley. All right, the game isn't over yet, but it's looking that way, right?
Yeah.
Huntley and Cary Grove. Those are 2 quality losses in both of those games in the 4th quarter. So this isn't the end for Crystal Lake Central, but it's going to be hard for them to dig out of an 0-2 hole.
Well, and again, we were talking about it, and I remember you guys talking about it on the podcast. Until proven otherwise, you don't really know. Like, you're always going to look at a Prairie Ridge, a Cary Grove, a Jacobs, and then of course a Huntley. Top 4 teams in the Fox Valley Conference for the better part of the decade. Crystal Lake Central has the potential. They have the ability. So are they going to be able to get over that hump? Again, they got 7, still time left in this game. You never know what could happen. It's 17-7 right now. I think there was about 6 minutes left in the 4th quarter at the time of that touchdown pass from Peyton Seberg. But again, we'll have to see what happens, but I completely agree with you. It's going to be tough. Yeah.
This is what happens. This is where Crystal Lake Central is. This happens to a team in the Fox Valley Conference every year where you're like, okay, they have these aspirations. They could be pretty good. They find themselves at 0-2, losing 2 quality teams in the Fox Valley Conference. But then you go, okay, they still have to play Prairie Ridge. Well, if they lose that, that's a 3rd loss. All right, Crystal Lake South is looking like a pretty solid team. Well, let's say, like, you know what I'm saying? It's very easy to all of a sudden be like,
yep,
I can find 5 losses there. You know what I'm saying? Like, your margin of error when you start 0-2 in the Fox Valley Conference becomes real thin really quickly.
Very, very difficult. So, by the way, we have another scoring update here from Michael Bolamy. By the way, Barrington and Prospect. So Barrington getting that really big win against Warren last week.
Okay, I haven't seen the score. Lay it on me.
Okay, so they won 40-33 last week. It is now the end of the 1st quarter, and Michael has put it out there for us. Barrington is up 14-0 against Prospect.
Yeah, you know what? I felt pretty good about the Broncos heading into this season. Long way to go in that game. I'm starting to feel like I underestimated Barrington, even feeling good about them.
Listen, it's a very, very respectable program. And I know I don't think they made the playoffs last year, and it's always been a program that is incredibly tough. And obviously,
they were incredibly young last year. They have so much back, and you give that program a chance for a bunch of young kids to get varsity experience. One, against a tough schedule to begin with, and then in their conference in mid-suburban, those kids came in battle tested this year. This is a really, really good start against Dan DeBuff is running a really solid program over at Prospect.
Oh, absolutely. Prospect has been one of the more consistent programs in the state. Again, just incredibly consistent.
They run a spread offense. They are really hard the Knights to stop. Barrington shutting them out in the first quarter. That's an impressive start to this game.
So we have some other score updates for you. Actually, Josh Welge has some other halftime scores. He has New Trier and Yorkville. New Trier is up 21-7 at the half over Yorkville, and Lions Wheaton Warrenville South currently at 7-0 at the half in favor of Lions. So Lions up 7-0 there.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to. I got a little distracted there from Jake Bartlesen trying to jump in here. I was getting him what was that last score there?
The last one for Lions and Wheaton Warrenville South. Lions is up 7-0 at the half.
Lions is up 7-0 at that. Just a lot of low scoring games again this week.
Well, Wheaton Warrenville South had that nice win against Simeon last week, but it was still a low scoring game then. It was 12-6. So but yes, we are definitely seeing a lot of
Here we go. Prairie Ridge 24-14 over Crystal Lake South. 2:04 left in the third. Prairie Ridge's Logan. I'm going to give it a go here. Logan Thanes, 17-yard fumble return there to give the Wolves a 10-point lead over the Gators.
Well, and again, we talk about that Prairie Ridge defense, and they're making things happen. Not only on offense today for the Wolves, but now you're getting a lot of help on defense as well. When those two things can come together, definitely helps.
This is what you expect from a Prairie Ridge defense. Even when they do give up points, they've been a defense over the years that is able to force turnovers and turn them into points. So, yeah,
it's absolutely crazy. But hey, you know what? That's what you do. You make adjustments and you try to get yourself back on the right track, and that works.
All right, we got Jake Bartlesen now in the studio with us. We're going to bring him on. He is at halftime of Batavia Lincoln Way East 7-7. Lincoln Way East. Batavia blocked a Lincoln Way East field goal attempt at the halftime horn. Jake, you got a good one, man.
We sure do, fellas. How are you?
We're doing good. How are you?
It's crazy. So Lincoln Way East started off the game with a bang, 4 plays in, 58-yard touchdown pass. Batavia responded to the ensuing drive, a fumble at the 1-yard line to get turned away, but Lincoln Way East later missed a field goal. Batavia eventually got on the board with a Ryan Bowe 1-yard touchdown, a drive that was aided with 2 defensive pass interference calls, and then, like you said, that blocked field goal at the half. So there's a lot of energy. It's a tightly called game. Refs are not messing around.
So, Jake, I have to ask: has the Ryan Bowe Isaiah Brown connection has that been happening at all, or is Lincoln Way East pretty much keeping that pretty tight?
So I like that you brought me there, because it certainly has. I mean, especially on that scoring that drive for them, Isaiah with a couple of big catches. So that connection is still going. Batavia able to run the football, but the one thing from Lincoln Way East is that I think they can counter well. Lots of different guys they can get the football to. I still got to count stats, but that kid, Skirtis kid, number 10, he's got at least like 5 catches at this point.
Well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see maybe if Ryan Bowe and Isaiah Brown can connect a little bit more, and then. But it sounds like you're going to have a pretty tight game there the rest of the way after seeing that first half.
If I can add real quick, Cade Rourke, that defensive end for Lincoln Way East, my gosh, what a fun player to watch. I mean, he is getting double teamed every snap, but he's still getting a fair amount of tackles.
Jake, I know you're a big fan of the Monster Energy drinks. Do you ever go with the coffee ones? Because I'm hitting that up to stay going tonight.
No, but I am on Monster number 2. So if you guys can't tell, I got to write fast. So
I'm not gonna. I'll go ahead and admit I'm on monster number 2 as well.
Okay, well, I'm telling you, maybe we can get John Sally or somebody in our marketing department, sponsored by Monster. We'll see.
There we go. That sounds like a pretty lucrative deal. We're gonna have to work on that. Work on that one next week. All right.
Good night live.
There. All right, Jake. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, guys. Have a good show.
All right, thank you. All right, and that was Jake Bartlesen out covering Lincoln Way East and Batavia. So we are at the top of the hour. We are going to take a commercial break here, but we will be back with some more craziness here on Live with Friday Night Drive.
Need a roof, vinyl windows, or doors? Call R.E. Duchesne Construction. With an A-plus rating for the Better Business Bureau and servicing Will, Grundy, and Kendall counties, call R.E. Duchesne. 815-722-2821. Financing available. Find out more online at reduchene.com.
I like Reich.
I like Reich.
Since 2016, it's been my privilege to represent the people of the 63rd District. I want to continue representing you as an independent voice in Springfield.
I like Reich. We like Reich.
Come to Candlelight Inn, home of the original Chicken George and Jan Sauce. Dine in, carry out, and catering available. Located in Rock Falls and Sterling, Illinois, as well as Clinton, Iowa. Come try our original Chicken George today.
Need a roof, vinyl windows, or doors? Call R.E. Duchesne Construction. With an A-plus rating for the Better Business Bureau and servicing Will, Grundy, and Kendall counties, call R.E. Duchesne. 815-722-2821. Financing available. Find out more online at reduchene.com.
I like Reich.
I like Reich.
Since 2016, it's been my privilege to represent the people of the 63rd District. I want to continue representing you as an independent voice in Springfield.
I like Reich. We like Reich.
Come to Candlelight Inn, home of the original Chicken George and Jan Sauce. Dine in, carry out, and catering available. Located in Rock Falls and Sterling, Illinois, as well as Clinton, Iowa. Come try our original Chicken George today.
And we are back with Live with Friday Night Drive. I'm Jimmy Musial with Kyle Nabors. Again, bringing you updates from scores around the area. Again, a very, very crazy week of football. Look, if it wasn't crazy last week, I feel like we're just way past that at this point for week 2. But Kyle, there is a comment in our chat from CRob309 that you did want to address.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll bring that up here on screen for a second here. CRob309 says St. Teresa doesn't make the playoffs. I don't see it. And C-Rob, I don't think you're wrong. They're down. The last we saw here, we had Michael Bolomi had mentioned in the chat with Belleville Altoff up 34-7 over St. Teresa at halftime. St. Teresa lost in week 1 to an out-of-state opponent from Indiana, Linton Stockton. They played Decatur St. Teresa coming off a state championship, 14-0 last year. The Bulldogs had a coaching change, a lot of turnover on that roster. They play as an independent team. The schedule is just absolutely stacked. See, Rob, you were right. I mean, you're looking at Central A&M, Tolono Unity, Leno Winslow. They go out of state to a Missouri school that, frankly, I don't know much about. After that, though, you got Quincy Notre Dame, Breeze Mater Dei, Highland. That is a really, really tough road ahead for Decatur St. Teresa if they fall to 0-2, Jimmy.
So we were going back to the Fox Valley Conference, by the way, because I just saw this and I gave Neil a clip from Cary Grove and Crystal Lake Central. Crystal Lake Central draws even closer now, 17-14, a minute 40 left in the fourth quarter at the time of Alex Kentucky's post. It was a couple of minutes ago. Jason Penza hits George Demopoulos from 6 yards on 4th and goal for the touchdown. Neil, if you could actually pull that up, that would be great because it is another phenomenal touchdown catch. So George Demopoulos getting the fantastic grab in what seemed to be the corner of the end zone. The Cary Grove defensive back was doing all he could to try and break that up. But now Crystal Lake Central finds themselves within 3 points of Cary Grove. So that looks like what looked like Cary Grove might have been able to run away with it just a tad. Crystal Lake Central comes right back. They're only down 3.
Well, first off, if Crystal Lake Central pulls this off after I went ahead and pretty much counted them out just a couple of minutes ago, I'm looking forward to the Tigers fans letting me know about that one. I'll deserve it. But a little background here. I think we hit on it a little bit last week, but George Demopoulos, Jason Penza, the outstanding quarterback over at Crystal Lake Central, got injured in the first half of the season opener last year. George Demopoulos moved over from wide receiver, played quarterback pretty much all of last season until week 9 when Penza came back, as you were talking about earlier in the show, started against Prairie Ridge. The thing is, George Demopoulos this summer is a wide receiver. You see it in the clip. Large-bodied receiver. Started getting interest from Division I schools. Ended up signing with Northern Illinois. So it's worked out for him. That's just one receiver we saw. Nelson, I'm blanking on the first name, Tommy Nelson, I want to say, with the touchdown earlier in the night in that game for Crystal Lake Central as well. They have a lot of weapons for Jason Penza there. So,
hey, and listen. Here's the other thing. Okay, a lot of the times it's hard to get literally everything right. I mean, that's just how it is. And there's a lot of teams that will just come out and all of a sudden they'll just keep surprising people. And by the way, I just saw another post from Alex. Apparently the Tigers got the onside kick with a minute 38 remaining.
All right. Fair enough.
So listen here. Okay. Crystal Lake Central and Cary Grove, 17-14 right now in favor of the Trojans. Tigers did just get through scoring on a touchdown pass from Jason Penza to George Demopoulos, and now the Tigers have gotten an onside kick. They recovered it. So this is crazy. Listen, this is crazy. Okay,
this is also the challenge of trying to give live analysis for 3 hours. And sometimes you get ahead of yourself and eat have a little egg on your face. But this is great to see how this one turns out.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. We have some more score updates for you here. It looks like from Dan Wuso for Wheaton St. Francis and Sterling, Milivojevic hits Willis deep on the right hash for a 56-yard touchdown. Willis reversed the field and outraced a group of defenders for the last 30 yards of the touchdown. So that's pretty crazy. It sounds like he got quite the workout in there. I'm wondering if he's a track star at that point. But St. Francis now leads Sterling 28-7 with 6:54 remaining in the third quarter.
Update from Soucy for the Kankakee Washington game. Tony Phillips with a 97-yard kickoff return. Kankakee now up 7-3 in that game. Tony Phillips is a dynamic playmaker for the K's, coming through big when they needed him.
Well, and that was the thing that really stood out to me is, look, I try to pay attention to as many of these players as I possibly can. Look, there's over 400 schools that are in the state of Illinois, so it's really hard for me to even try to remember 5 of them at that point. But what I do remember is Tony Phillips equals fast. That's what I do remember.
Tony Phillips does equal fast. That is an accurate statement on Tony Phillips. I'm trying to pull up here really quickly. If you can give me a second, Milwaukee Academy of Science is up 26-14 on Marion Central here. Marion Central playing it's softer schedule than in years past, but after losing week 1 to Richmond Burden here, if Marion Central was to fall to 0-2, I'm kind of interested to see what they still have ahead here to see where that would put them here. Jim, if you can give me a second.
Absolutely, because I've got another scoring update from Bolingbrook and Hinsdale Central. Bolingbrook is up 31-17 on Hinsdale Central right now. That is from the Hinsdale Central athletic department account. I do not know what quarter that is in. There we go. We got it from Soucy. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. It is in the third quarter. Bolingbrook up 31-17 on Hinsdale Central.
Hinsdale Central took the loss in week 1, already at 0-1 now, in danger of falling to 0-2 in a tough West Suburban League. We talked about York earlier. They got Glenbard West. Downers Grove North, I believe, is also on their Lions. They got a tough road to come back if they're going to fall to 0-2 here tonight.
They certainly do. So we'll have to see how that one plays out. And by the way, I do have I was looking here. The last update that I do have from Johnsburg and Reed Custer. Let's see here. We've got 14 to nothing in favor of Johnsburg. The last update I have from Tim Frolig, who's out there covering that game. The Skyhawks made a fantastic stop on defense. It was a 3rd and 1, and the Comets for Reed Custer had a 4th and 5. So at that time, I don't really have any other updates, but pretty crazy. Oh, actually, now I do. 14-7 Johnsburg against Reed Custer. So that one pretty tight as well.
Reed Custer got 14-7 there. So Reed Custer, very quality program these last couple of years, had really kind of taken its game to next level. They lost a lot. The Comets lost a lot to graduation here. Didn't know exactly what they were going to look like offensively. Johnsburg got back into the playoffs at 6-5 last year. Took the win. Had a win against Woodstock North in week 1. Skyhawks off to a 2-0 start as the schedule will start to tighten up here. They get Rochelle in week 3, Marengo in week 4. You got Richmond Burden still down the road. Johnsburg getting into 2-0 start would be a nice ring to it.
Absolutely, and this post from Tim actually shows that Johnsburg tried to go for a field goal before the half, and it was blocked by Reed Custer. But it was a very it was very interesting though. I have to read this because so Reed Custer commits a pass interference penalty, then a personal foul in the final 29 seconds of the first half, and then Johnsburg tries the 35-yard field goal, and it's blocked as the half ends. Pretty much as Tim was saying in his post here, wild first half finish.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like it. Tim, it looks like he's trying to jump on with us here. Don't see him in the green room currently. Here he comes here. See if we can get Tim on screen here.
Can you guys see me and hear me okay?
Yeah, we got you, Tim. Sounds like you had a wild first half.
It looked like Johnsburg was going to run away with this football game. They had a 14-0 lead. We had an early first quarter rushing touchdown on their first possession, and then a gorgeous, I posted video of it online on Twitter, or X as it's called now, and it was just an absolutely spectacular throw by quarterback A.J. Bravieri and an equally spectacular catch where a player was falling backwards in the end zone. That gave Johnsburg a 14-0 lead. They were driving again, got deep into Reed Custer territory, and Reed Custer, late in the first half, forced a fumble, recovered it, had a 12 or 13 play drive. I'll have to go check. Want for it on 4th and 5 from the Johnsburg 9-yard line, and they found a wide open player in the end zone to make it 14-7. And you'd think that was the end of the half, but it wasn't, because a personal foul penalty and a pass interference on a bomb that Bravieri threw put Johnsburg deep in Reed Custer territory. They tried a 35-yard field goal. It was blocked. It went from 0 to 60 real quick here and did a 180. So I'm interested to see how this plays out. The game didn't start until 8:08 p.m., which is probably one of the latest ones I've ever had. So I'll try to get it to you as quick as I can tonight, fellas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a print writer's worst nightmare. But Tim, good luck, man, and thanks for jumping on with us.
Thanks. Should be an exciting finish, fellas.
All right. Thank you, Tim. So, yeah. I wasn't exactly sure. I'm wondering why some of those games will start that late. If they have, because I know typically they like to shoot between like the 7 and 7:30 range. So that's very interesting that that Tim's game started at 8:08 tonight.
So if you have the sophomore game before, I believe it's the sophomore level, if I remember correctly, play before, if that game runs long. You have a lot of teams that are, doing pregame ceremonies, and we were talking about this as a staff not that long ago. With the way high school football has changed, it's not the way high school football was always set up like what is it 5:30? I think it's 5:30 for the JV or sophomore game, or 6 o'clock, and then the 7:30 or 7 o'clock start for varsity. But those times kind of came around when offenses weren't throwing the ball 30 times in a game, and you get a lot more clock stoppages. Games are running a lot longer, so you're getting a lot later start times. And people don't really want to feel bad for us, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, it certainly makes our job more difficult. I'm sure there's some parents that don't enjoy the late bus ride home either.
No, absolutely not. But I will say, speaking of wild finishes, so Alex, his game finally wrapped up between Cary Grove and Crystal Lake Central. Central's pass falls incomplete it was a 4th and 9 on Cary Grove's 25-yard line. It falls incomplete, so Cary Grove comes away with the win. They come away with the win, 17-14. Cary Grove definitely gutting that one out today. But Crystal Lake Central was right there. They were competing. They made it tough, and unfortunately just came up short.
And the Fox Valley Conference, you want to make sure you take your heart medication if you're going to go watch an FVC game this year.
It doesn't. And by the way, it doesn't matter what team, because anything can happen on a given night. Speaking of the Fox Valley Conference, I did just see an update from Joe Stevenson from Prairie Ridge and Crystal Lake South. Prairie Ridge is starting to run away with this one, 38-14. In the fourth quarter, Prairie Ridge's Jack Finn with a 65-yard touchdown run. So
it all kind of blends together after a while. So, but wasn't when we talked to Joe, it was 14-14 at half, wasn't it?
Prairie Ridge was up by 3. They kicked a field goal right before the half, okay. So it was 17-14. However, Prairie Ridge it sounds like they just made a ton of adjustments and have just now, like I said, they're running away with this one right now, 38-14.
Well, I'll tell you, when we talk about adjustments, it's funny when you talk about these triple options offense and talking with Coach Chris Schramp and Brad Seberg over the years. Yes, there are adjustments, but they're not really changing up what they're running. They have set plays in the triple option offense, right?
Absolutely.
It's usually about execution. Prairie Ridge, very good at getting in there at halftime and fixing mistakes.
Absolutely. And when you're coached by Chris Schramp, you're definitely going to make sure that you iron those out. So 38-14 in favor of Prairie Ridge right now. So that one's looking pretty good for the Wolves.
I got an update for you here. We got York from Nazareth, Josh Welge covering York and Nazareth. Nazareth down in that game, right? But 28-13 now. They get a touchdown here. We're taking advantage of a short field. Logan Malachuk, 24-yard touchdown pass to James Penley. The extra point was blocked, so 28-13. The Roadrunners with a long way to go in this, but we saw it last week when they were struggling to get the offense going. All of a sudden, they were able to, get back in that game against Kankakee. So still a lot of time. 4 minutes left in the third quarter there.
Yes, absolutely. Well, here's the thing that I thought was very interesting was the fact that in the Kankakee game, Logan Malachuk resorted to running. Instead of a lot of instead of going to the passing plays like we normally see from Nazareth. Now, yes, they were a little bit more balanced last year. Totally understood. However, Malachuk, as I do understand again in that game against Kankakee, a lot of the passes were long. They were not exactly, they weren't like short passes to try and maybe turn it into something bigger. But to see that, where, again, they took advantage of the short field, as Josh just said here, 24-yard touchdown pass. And, now they find themselves a little bit more into it. However,
well, they needed
it's coming to the end of the third quarter.
They needed something to jumpstart the offense here. So taking advantage of the short field, hopefully they do it because, they have last week had trouble getting it going. Clearly again this week. Let's see if that gets the offense back on track because it's been a bit surprising to say the least.
We have another update from Randy Whalen for Lockport against Wheaton North, and Wheaton North is down by 2 right now with 10 minutes, 22 seconds left in the third quarter. Lockport up 24-22 on Wheaton North, so Randy has a good one out there as well.
Looks like Barrington up 28-14 at half on Prospect. Again, the Broncos playing really well to start the year.
We also have from Soucy here. We have Morrison 19, Princeton 14. 5 minutes left in that game. Again, Princeton, one of the better teams in Class 3A, and they're so now down by 5 at this time.
I've seen some interesting scores from out west into the middle part of the central part of the state. Mercer County taking down St. Bede 38-13. Surprised to see that one, I got to say.
And it looks like so it looks like we also have let's see. So at the time of Randy's post, we also, it looks like Steve actually has he's got an update, a 44-yard field goal from Superfoot. Sorry. That was a good one. From Superfoot, 27-22 in favor of Lockport against Wheaton North at this time. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to make me laugh like that on air for the rest of the season.
I'm going to bring Seuss. If I know Seuss he's in our studio here and listening along. He might be frozen though. That's why I don't want to bring him on, because I want to. Seuss, if you can hear this, I'm going to try and bring you on for a second, see what your audio sounds like. I'm not sure how the crowd would do here, but I want to get a question to you. I think we can hear you.
Yes.
Seuss, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, I can.
Who is Superfoot?
His last name is Blazewski. I'm not sure what his first name is. I personally like Superfoot better, so that's what I put.
All right. I was just making sure there wasn't like an Alabama kicker recruit or something that I forgot at Lockport. Some kid just out there apparently banging 51 and 44-yard field goals through the uprights.
The kid's legit from what I've heard, so I'm just drawing a blank on his first name, but I've heard good things about him. It wasn't a fluke. This kid really has a strong leg.
All right, Nick Saban, you better start making some calls. All right, Suits, we'll check back in with you. Thanks for jumping on.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Again, I'm not going to be able to get past Superfoot. I'm just not going to. So we also have an update from Coal City and Canton. That one is actually wrapped up as a final. Coal City 41-0 over Canton in that one. Trying to see if there were any other scores that we missed here in the chat. But I want to take this time to thank everybody who's been in the chat so far, who has been helping us out. You guys are great, and it really does. Again, it helps us to try and make sure that we keep track of everything. So much appreciated.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If you are live with us on YouTube or Facebook, we appreciate the comments, the questions. If you are live on Facebook with us, do us a favor though, subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment if you're watching this back during the week. Helps us helps other people find the channel. This is a new venture we're undertaking this year, live with Friday Night Drive. So new experiment. We'd love to know what you guys think and how we can improve the show. So anything you got for us, please jump in. It helps us know what you guys want to talk about. So
absolutely. And thank you very much to our wonderful sponsor, SGKR Law. Really do appreciate them. And I also want to take this time to mention Candlelight Inn, home of the original Chicken George and Jan Sauce. Dine in, carry out, and catering available. Locations in Rock Falls, Sterling, and they also have one in Clinton, Iowa. Come try the original Chicken George today. Candlelight Inn. So again, if as Kyle was just saying, please do give us your feedback. Live with Friday Night Drive. I'm Jimmy Musial, and this has been absolutely incredible all night. To give you updated scores and news from around the area. We've had some great interviews with reporters who have been giving us some awesome insight. Especially we were talking to Tim Froelich. He's got a wild one out there at Johnsburg against Reed Custer. They're at 14-7 at halftime, and we also have another update here from Seuss. End of the third quarter, Geneva was up 14-0 at the half when we were talking to Tim Cronin. Now Lamont has drawn themselves closer, 14-7.
All right, let's see. I just had something here I wanted to go to.
That's what happens when you're trying to keep track of all this.
Yeah, I know you're going there. Here it is. I wanted to make sure to get to this one because it was another game I wanted to monitor this week. I don't think we've talked about it much so far, but John Kerr, who does a great job covering Lake Forest over there, on Friday nights. 13-10, Carmel takes the lead over Lake Forest. Donovan Day with a 48-yard touchdown run for Carmel. Carmel with a chance to get to 2-0 after a big win last week against Crete Monee.
Well, And again, that's another one of those schools that's going to have a very, very tough schedule coming up after the second week here. So, that's a very tight one over there. 13-10 in favor of Carmel. We have the end of the third quarter for York and Nazareth. So York still has a 28-13 lead, but they will have a first and goal at the 6 when play does resume.
Oh, all right. And I'm getting a note here from John Solly, our digital editor over at Shaw Local, giving us a little insight here to why that Reed Custer and Johnsburg game started so late. The bus got there. Late traffic, and now that I think about it, it's a Friday. I've made that trip up I-55 on more than one occasion. It's not a fun drive on a Friday evening, so feel bad for the comments after they actually. I'm sure you've done that yourself, haven't you, over the years here?
What?
Make that commute up I-55 or around I-90 there?
I have. It's not, you know what? It's really not fun. I'm just glad that everybody got to the game safely, just because that's not fun at all. So,
I was going south on a Friday afternoon this summer, right around 290 there, right around the interchange where they're doing all the construction, and I was going down to actually visit family. I grew up down in the Bradley-Bourbonnais area, so I go down that area. I actually turned around. It was so bad. Like, it was like that construction, horrific. I'm guessing that's where Reed Custer ran into trouble today.
Listen. Just to tell you really quickly, we had a wedding that we needed to go to, and I was heading towards it was Joliet. And I can't remember the exact name of the town now, but all I do know is that the traffic was so bad heading, with that 290 and 55. It's an absolute nightmare. And then on top of that, I think my GPS literally told me, get off, like, just get off here. You're going to save yourself so much time.
Yeah. It's just like, I know you're on the interstate, but it's just not worth your time.
This is
today.
This is not a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, that makes a lot of sense then. Thank you very much, John, for giving us that insight. That's awesome. By the way, we were talking about Marist and Brother Rice. Marist and Brother Rice are tied at 24 with under 5 minutes left. So Marist, trying to hop on Brother Rice early, had a 24-0 lead. Brother Rice relying on that defense to get themselves back into it, and now they are tied. This is, again, I'm telling you, I told you this was crazy, okay? And I wasn't lying when I said it. It's not going to get any less crazy as the night goes on, and we're only at 9:27. We still have an hour and a half left. I mean, it's just,
If anyone, if I don't know if that game is on YouTube anywhere, if that game is streaming anywhere, if you guys could throw that into the chat link, I'd really like to be able to see the end of that one, because that looks like it's going to be a great finish. So
absolutely,
I appreciate some help with that.
By the way, for that Princeton game, did I say what quarter that was in? I can't remember if I did, because I'm looking at Seuss's information here that he gave to us, and then I'm also looking at Michael Bolomy's chat. So let's see. Okay, 5 minutes to go in the game at the time when Seuss told us it was 19-14 in favor of Morrison, and now we have an update from Michael Bolomy. Princeton just got through scoring a touchdown. It's now 21-19, and there's 45 seconds left in that one. So really, when does it doesn't stop. It doesn't. So,
Princeton had to replace some key players last year or coming into this season. Ryan Pearson running a really strong program with the Tigers. They're getting challenged tonight, and they haven't been challenged a lot in the regular season the last couple of years, but it looks like the Tigers are going to find a way to get a win this week.
And let's see here. We also have, by the way, I'm just checking back in on the Lincoln Way East and Batavia game. So 1:35 left in the third quarter. Lincoln Way East and Batavia still tied at 7. So nothing happening there just yet with Jake Bartlesen out there covering that one. But Sterling, according to Dan Wuso, Sterling just cut the deficit from 28-7, now 28-14. 44-yard touchdown run up the middle by Cale Lettergerber. Gets loose for a 44-yard touchdown run, had a highway-sized running lane on that one. So apparently he was untouched, and now Sterling is down only 14. But there is there's 11:52 left in the fourth quarter.
I don't know if this screen name will pass the censors on network TV or on TV, but we got it here. I think, Jesse, we need to cook. I do appreciate the Breaking Bad reference, though, but chimes in with Winnebago over Rockford Christian 55-34 high-scoring game in that one. Always enjoy a good Breaking Bad reference.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you very much, Jesse. That was awesome. We love it. Okay, and now we have 4 minutes left to play in the fourth quarter between Bolingbrook and Hinsdale Central. Bolingbrook up 39-24. So this one is interesting, and I need to remember what I was talking to Soucy about earlier today. So there were some concerns with Bolingbrook and how the offensive line would play out. They have enough around quarterback Jonas Williams in order to make things happen. They can definitely score. They played against Grayslake Central last week. Again, Grayslake Central is not a bad program by any means. However, Bolingbrook, with the schools that they play against in their conference,
Southwest Suburban is no joke.
It's not a joke. So now with Hinsdale Central, probably, who is going to give them a really good test. Bolingbrook seems to be passing that right now with flying colors.
You know what? Soucy is on the stream here. I'm going to bring him in and let him give the analysis on that one. Sounds like you guys already had this conversation. Soucy, you got some thoughts on that? Maybe not.
I love it. He was just like, nah.
I'm not touching
I don't think
that.
so.
I'm not touching that one.
I'm out.
Okay.
But here's the thing though. It's week 2. And Bolingbrook is able to, obviously they're able to score a lot of points. Hinsdale Central is a very formidable program. 4 minutes left to play in this one. It's week in and week out. I guess this is going to be like, okay, we'll see what they have.
Yeah, I mean, for both of these programs, they're going through schedules that are incredibly tough. We got Soucy back now. I'm going to bring him in and try this again. Soucy, the second I popped you on screen, you disappeared on me.
Got some fat finger syndrome right there, boys. Sorry about that.
Nah, you're good. So Soucy, I remember when I talked to you earlier today, we were talking about Bolingbrook and how they had Grayslake Central last week, and now they have Hinsdale Central this week. Right now, 39-24, as you had put in the chat. Thank you very much for that, by the way. Hinsdale Central, obviously, wanting to give them a pretty big test, but it seems like Bolingbrook is doing okay so far in the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, it definitely looks like this is a team that has put their pieces together in a way that makes them pretty formidable. I was really curious to see if Bolingbrook's ease of offense would happen against the Hinsdale Central team that I thought had a pretty sound defense. So it looks so far that's good. The last touchdown, the connection I think we'll hear a lot of this season, Jonas Williams to Cayenne Barry Johnson, the Wisconsin recruit. So obviously I felt like Bolingbrook could score. For me, the big question was going to be whether or not that offensive line would gel and whether or not the defense could keep games from being shootouts. But it feels like Bolingbrook has controlled this game tonight.
Have you been paying a lot of attention to what's going on with Marist and Brother Rice?
I've been keeping together as best as I can. A big third quarter for Brother Rice, got them back and tied, and it just sounds like the fourth quarter has been a back-and-forth struggle. Marist missed a field goal with about 5.5 minutes left in the game. That was the last legitimate scoring attempt that I saw.
Soucy, thanks for jumping on, man. Keep throwing those updates in the chat, and if you want to jump back in, just throw something in the chat for us. We'll get you back on screen, okay?
All right, and by the way, we do have a game that just got through wrapping up not too long ago. Joe Stevenson was out at Prairie Ridge Crystal Lake South. Prairie Ridge getting their second win of the season, 38-14 against the Gators. So the Gators who were keeping it close for pretty much the first half. It just seems like
14. Were they up 14-0?
They were.
Or no, with Prairie Ridge up 14.
No. At one point, I do believe Crystal Lake South. Joe was saying they were up 14-0 at one point, and then Prairie Ridge just kind of dialed in on defense, got a couple of scores, and then ended up getting a field goal before the half to be up by 3, and then pretty much ran away with it in the second half after that.
Yeah, that's more of what you expect to see from Prairie Ridge.
Absolutely. So we have another update from Wheaton St. Francis against Sterling. It looks like I don't want, you know what, here's the thing. If you guys don't be upset with him or anybody else, because I'm the one who's really trying to pronounce this tonight. And if you want to throw my email to these people, they're going to just absolutely destroy me. But Milivojevic hits Willis down the left sideline for a 46-yard gain, finds Willis again, short left for a 5-yard touchdown pass. Wheaton St. Francis now up on Sterling 35-14 with a little under 10 minutes to play in the fourth quarter.
Here you go for Tim Froelich. Getting an update here from Reed Custer in Johnsburg. Reed Custer with the trick play to perfection to open the second half. Landon Robinson takes a handoff, then tosses a 54-yard bomb to Colin Monroe. Reed Custer now ties it against Johnsburg 14-14. 11:02 there in the third quarter. That's 14 straight unanswered from the Comets.
Well, that again, we were saying, Tim was saying it right as before the half was ending. I mean, especially with that insane, the penalties that were committed. Johnsburg goes for the 35-yard field goal. It gets blocked. Next thing you know, 14 unanswered points by Reed Custer. Just adds to more of the ridiculousness that is Live with Friday Night Drive right now.
Well, we don't talk about it enough at the high school level, how quickly special teams can turn high school games. It's kind of the forgotten thing. Coaches work at it as much as they can, but sometimes it can be the difference in these games.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's another update, by the way, from Lincoln Way East and Batavia. So here's the thing I will say: there's not a scoring update. However, he did mention that Ryan Bowe was down. He had the trainers were coming out. It was 29 seconds left in the third quarter.
Wait, hold on. Ryan Bowe is down?
Ryan Bowe was down. He did say that he got back up, but he said he got crunched. He's walking off the field. Batavia had to punt. So right after that, well, Josh Welpley, fake punt, first down Batavia. So it's just you cannot make this up. There's reading this from these guys.
I am of the school of aggressiveness, so yes. I love it. I love it. The question there is, did Ryan? You said Ryan Bowe got up. The question now becomes, is Ryan Bowe coming back into that game? That would be now a big loss for the Bulldogs.
It would absolutely. And right now, I don't have anything from Jake
yet.
We'll
just keep an eye on it and see what we get out of that.
Because Ryan Bowe is a huge part of that Batavia team, and we're just hope obviously with anybody who goes down with injury, we hope that they're okay. By the way, so from Randy Whalen, once again, by the way, his name is Nate Blazewski, Superfoot that Seuss was talking about. He boots another field goal. And this one was from 23 yards out.
Oh, well, that's a chip shot.
That's basically a chip shot for Superfoot. I mean, that's just how it works.
I really hope the Superfoot nickname sticks.
I do too, and I'm because of this show tonight, I really hope that helps. That helps him out. So Lockport is now up 30-22, 9:42 left in that game, according to Randy Whalen. Nate Blazewski with 3 field goals tonight to help out this Lockport team. And that's a pretty, you were talking about special teams. It can definitely make a difference.
Small school upset from Soucy and Westville 31, Bismarck Henning 22. We had Dan Wusso out covering Wheaton St. Francis and Sterling. That game is pretty much in hand. It was 28-7 Wheaton St. Francis at the end of the third quarter. Then became 35-14 with 9:43 left to play. Interesting thing, though, here. I want to get Seuss's opinion on this. Seuss, if you're listening here and can hear us, I'll bring you on in a second here. Actually, I'll bring Seuss on now. So Wheaton St. Francis up 35-14, has their second string in with 9 minutes left in the game, and they just fumbled the ball away, giving the ball back to Sterling. I don't know the context there, but that seemed pretty early to have your second string in a 3-score game with 9 minutes still to play, right?
Wow, yeah, that is a bit surprising, no doubt about that, especially against an opponent that obviously is pretty decent in Sterling. So I don't know if I quite understand that call.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see if Sterling is able to take advantage and get back into that game. So, all right, Seuss, thanks for jumping back on.
So that thank you very much for that update, Seuss, and thank you. Thanks for bringing him on too, because that is. Yeah, I'm a little surprised by that as well. I'm not exactly, because I mean we just saw what you had pointed out there. It's a fumble. St. Francis fumbles backfield exchange.
I don't know the context. I don't want to, but it just of course, 9 minutes is a lot of time against a team like Sterling. Like I don't know. So.
Yeah. So we'll have to see how that one plays out, because again, it's just been a crazy night of high school football in the state of Illinois here on Live with Friday Night Drive. I'm Jimmy Musial with the one and only Kyle Nabors. By the way, also want to thank Neil for helping us out tonight as well, for making all of this, putting all of this out here for you guys, playing the clips for us, and and it's you can't really go unnoticed there. So thank you very much, Neil. By the way, have another update from York and Nazareth. York pretty much trying to run away with this one at this point. 6:34 left in the fourth quarter. Jake Mellion, 30-yard touchdown run. That is his second of the night, and York is now up 42-13.
Trying to find a little more update here. Anything I can find with Brother Rice and Maris coming down the wire here. It looks like Brother Rice with possession. Maris with the football at their own 22 with 1:45 left in that game. Still trying to see if I can find that stream anywhere, Jimmy.
Yep, no worries. We'll try to see if we could find that for you here. By the way, Loyola, we do have an update from Loyola and Naperville North. So actually, it looks like this game is now wrapped up according to the Loyola Academy football Twitter account. X account, Twitter account. The Ramblers end up winning 27-6. So that is a good win. Good win for the Ramblers tonight, and next week they actually have Marist, so that'll be pretty good game. And like you were saying, we're trying to find an update on Marist Brother Rice. So
I want to say one thing for anyone watching right now, because this is helpful, because I see it all the time on X, Twitter, whatever you want to see it. And just now I'm trying to search to see if I can find a live stream of Brother Rice Marist. And there are so many spam links from YouTube, and I see it people on Twitter. Be really careful what you're clicking on if you're on social media. If it's not from a source that you know, and they're acting like, or they're advertising that they have a stream, it's most likely spam. Don't click on that.
By the way, we've got a final from Morrison and Princeton. So if we, if you want to go ahead and put Michael Ballamy's his little chat there for
we got
Morrison Princeton. Morrison ends up winning 22-21. And here is the thing. Boy, this is, I don't want to say it's been the night of kickers, but I mean, we've already got Superfoot with 3 field goals for Lockport, and now we have the freshman kicker.
We're seeing special teams make a huge difference here. A difference in week 2 is what we're seeing.
Exactly. So now with that 1-point victory over Princeton, that is a heck of a win for Morrison tonight.
All right, it looks like we have the Johnsburg touchdown here. Neil, you want to throw that up?
Need to know where they got that from. I really do, because it is so incredibly just not a horn. I don't care what anybody says, that's not a horn at all. But Johnsburg with a nice way to get themselves back.
It was a 1-yard touchdown run. I can give you a little more, give the viewers a little more context there. Tim Froelich with the video for us there. Johnsburg punches right back with 8:10 left in the third quarter. Brent, here we go.
Centarowitz.
There you go.
There we go. Let's go. Let's go.
From 1 yard out to give the Skyhawks a 2014 lead. They try for 2, but are denied. So Johnsburg back out in front there. 8:10 left in the third quarter.
All righty, there we go. By the way, there was. I'm sorry, Seuss. There was something that he wanted to tell us. Something about that I'm not sure if that's what he wanted to tell us. The Morrison Princeton game, maybe. Sorry.
No, hold on.
Did I miss something or
hold on? Seuss, if we can get him up here, I'll bring him back in. Seuss has an update I think he wants to share with us.
No, that was what it was. Yeah, that was what it was. I wanted to let you know that Morrison had kicked the game-winning field goal.
How surprised are you by that result?
pretty darn surprised, to be completely honest with you. My eyebrow was raised last week. They won 40-0. I wasn't sure what to make of them, but that is a huge win for them, just in general, because Princeton had just been anointed the top team in 3A in the AP poll. It looks like their stay is only going to be a week long.
While we have you, what's going on in your game, Joliet Catholic and Providence?
It hasn't really gotten any better for Providence. They have really not been able to move the football. Have had a couple more turnovers, and now we're at 19-0 with 2:47 to play.
All right, cool. Thanks for jumping back on, Zeus.
Yep.
All right. So, by the way, okay, now there's a couple of posts here that have just well, the games are pretty tight. So, Hinsdale Central has now pulled to within 39-31 against Bolingbrook. And now they're going to attempt an onside kick. This was about a minute ago from the Hinsdale Central Athletic Department account.
How much time is left in that game?
We do not know exactly because they have not posted how much time is left. But they have posted that they're like, here's the thing. Like, I do appreciate the fact that they are posting because it does obviously help us. And so thank you to the Hinsdale Central Athletic Department account. Red Devils have scored, though, to make it 39-31 against Bolingbrook. So that one seems to be a tight one. We've got another one where Reed Custer has now taken the lead right back from Johnsburg. Just got this from Tim Frolig. Just 49 seconds after Johnsburg retakes the lead, Rex Pfeiffer races 76 yards for Reed Custer for a rushing touchdown. So Reed Custer is now up 21-20.
So we found the silly game of the night is what we found.
We have.
We found the silly game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But we have a game starts late because traffic issues, and now we're just going to go completely bananas. So, yep.
Well, what did they also have? They had a hook and ladder before.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I got a name for you here. I want to make sure to the freshman kicker for Morrison that hit the game-winning field goal, Josh McDermott, getting that name from View from the West, at View from the West pod. Always helpful. Thanks for that there. Morrison with the upset win over Princeton, 22-21, with a freshman hitting the field goal to take down the number one team in Class 3A.
Well, and you know, especially for a kid who's that young and to be put into that type of situation against one of the top teams against a top team in Class 3A in Princeton, and the next thing you know, he kicks a game-winning field goal, and Morrison ends up getting a huge win. So congratulations to Morrison, 22-21 over Princeton. You look like something was. I'm
not seeing a name yet, but I am seeing Maris with has taken the lead over Brother Rice. 33-yard touchdown for Maris with 38.6 seconds left in the game.
Okay, where who did you see that?
That's from the Brother Rice football account is where I'm getting that one.
All right, so we actually. They just got through posting that, and of course Tim O'Brien, who's out there, he just got through posting it as well. It looks like Owen Winters hits Stephen Brown in double coverage in the end zone for a 33-yard touchdown, and like you were saying, 38 seconds left in that one. So listen, the schedule does not get any easier after this week, and the way that these teams are playing each other now, we are basically going to be ready for just. Look, we're ready. We're going through the gauntlet here, just trying to even look at these games and see how they're playing out. But we do actually now have a final for Bolingbrook and Hinsdale Central. Bolingbrook hangs on to win 39-31. Again, thank you to the Hinsdale Central Athletic Department account for giving us that update.
Man, that is a big win for Bolingbrook. Hinsdale Central did a valiant effort to get back into that game, but they find themselves at 0-2 with a very tough West Suburban Silver slate ahead.
And we also have Eddie Carifio, and I did get his name right because I feel like
yes.
Eddie
Carifio.
Eddie Carifio.
Yes.
Had to make sure I got that one. Plainfield South recovered the onside kick to make things interesting, but ends up going 4 and out. DeKalb in victory formation now up 20-7. That will be the final. So thank you very much, Eddie. Much appreciated.
starting to see a lot of finals come across. Dixon with a 29-20 win over Oregon. What else you got over here as I try and flip through? I got Marmion, 40-0 winner over Curie. York is still up. Let's see. That's actually an older one from Josh Welby. See if I can get a do you have a final yet for Lions and Wheaton Warrenville South?
I actually do, and it just came from Josh Welge. So, Josh, thank you so much. Do appreciate that. Lions ends up beating Wheaton Warrenville South 13-0. So, heck of a defensive effort from Lions, and unfortunately, Wheaton Warrenville South not really able to get much offense going in that one. So, congratulations to Lions. Let's see here. Providence. It looks like Seuss's game actually just got through wrapping up. Joliet Catholic ending up winning that one 19-0.
Yeah, we'll bring Seuss on just really quickly here. Seuss, what final thoughts on that one?
Yeah, it was just it was a pretty dominant performance from Joliet Catholic tonight, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. Providence couldn't get anything going. I believe they finished with 5 turnovers on the game. I think only penetrated inside the Joliet Catholic 30-yard line once the entire contest. So just a really, really nice game from Joliet Catholic. It just seemed like whatever Providence tried to do, they couldn't get any momentum.
All right. Thanks, Seuss. We're going to go ahead and let you go, though, because we've got Joe Stevenson waiting. He had Prairie Ridge and Crystal Lake South. Prairie Ridge pulled away in the second half of that game. We're going to bring Joe into the studio now. Joe, you're a little dark. I think you're in the car, buddy.
I'm in my car. I'm trying.
Okay. We got the silhouette of Joe here. All right. Well, we can at least see the Boston Red Sox hat, which we know is what you really care about, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Well, Joe, you're so your game just wrapped up not too long ago. It really seemed like maybe it was going to be a little bit a little bit closer due to the fact that it was 17-14 in favor of Prairie Ridge. They ended up kicking that field goal, as you said, before the half, but then after that, it just kind of seemed like they just ran away with it.
Yeah, once Prairie Ridge got the momentum, they just didn't let go of it, and South just couldn't get anything done to get it back. I think South was driving in the second half, and Giovanni Creator, Dom Creator's little brother, he picked off a pass. They both wound up with picks. That's kind of interesting. Each brother getting a pick. But yeah, man, Prairie Ridge played a tremendous second half, shut them out. South lost a couple guys. Michael Prokos, the good wide receiver, had a little bit of an ankle issue. He had to leave the game in the fourth quarter, and South just couldn't get anything done really in the fourth quarter or in the second half. Prairie Ridge, Jack Finn with a couple long touchdown runs at fullback for Prairie Ridge, and they ended up 38-14, 38 unanswered points by Prairie Ridge.
Yeah, Joe, it's first time seeing Prairie Ridge this year. How impressed did you come away from seeing the Wolves?
Very impressed because, last week, Chris Shrimp, their coach, said that Jacob's defense was really good. And they won 6-0. And tonight we saw the Wolves offense, a lot of new guys on offense. And so that could have been part of it too. But their offense looked a lot better tonight. And the defense, after getting, beat for some long passes early, the defense was really impressive after that.
Joe, before we let you go, have you been able to look at what happened between Cary Grove and Crystal Lake Central?
I saw that it was 17-14 Cary Grove. So the lesson I learned is I have to, when I'm picking these things, I'm going to stop messing with tradition. Just go with the tradition.
I know. Doesn't that feel like the lesson to be learned here?
Yeah. I should have known that from, I think that's Seuss's policy, just until someone proves otherwise, just go with the tradition. So, I think that'll be my plan from now on.
Well, I was the viewers could probably tell I was sweating because I kind of called the game over at Cary Grove when they went up 17-7. Central went down, scored, make it 17-14, and then recovered the onside kick with about 1:40 left. And I was like, "Oh, Tiger Nation is coming for me tonight." All right, well, we'll let you go get working on that story. Thanks, Joe.
Okay, catch you guys later.
All right, thanks, Joe. So we have a final here from final in Elmhurst. Actually, York ends up beating Nazareth 42-13. So
that is impressive. York.
It absolutely is, because look, I mean, again, Nazareth is not going to have an easy schedule the rest of the way. These first 2 weeks were going to be incredibly tough. York has just kind of picked up where they left off last season.
Yeah, there's been no rust at all. We've talked about through the first 2 weeks how often it is, or how common it is to see York, the Duke, just coming out firing right out of the gate.
Yeah, absolutely. So great job by York to pull off again that 42-13 win over the Nazareth Roadrunners. It's tough. It's tough, man. I mean, I don't even think there's another word to describe it at this point. So Nazareth will try to get back. Will try to get themselves back on track next week, and York is just going to continue to ride this thing. And I know it's only week 2, but I don't know. I just got a gut feeling that York is really, really just gonna, they saw what happened last season, and even though they graduated some players, it just sounds like somebody's coming. So
Soucy, let's bring Soucy in. Soucy, you got us here. Let's see if we can get Soucy up here. You may have frozen up with us.
I'm here.
There he is. All right. Yeah. After now seeing York really just dismantle the Roadrunners in this one, how you feeling about the Dukes?
Well, I kind of suspected maybe not quite this wide of a gap, but, just based on the way that those two teams played, that this might be what we were going to get. I mean, I think York is legitimately established itself now as a top 5, top 7 type of program, regardless of class. That's where I think they're at right now. Obviously playing some really, really good football.
Yeah. And I don't want to discount Coach Tim Rackey and the Roadrunners. We've seen them get off to slow starts on tough schedules, and just come flying back in the second half of the season. Right.
Yeah. Obviously last year, the first team ever to go 2-4 to start the season and then eventually win a state championship. So they know how to play from behind, if you will. And so it wouldn't surprise me if they got their momentum going. But right now, this is not the best brand of Nazareth football. I think we're going to see it later down the season, though.
Soucy, you jumping in the car to head home to get ready for Live with Friday Night Drive?
That is. I just should let you know, though, Superfoot missed wide from 50 yards, but I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at him, though.
Well, you know what? When you've already made from 51 and 45 in a high school game, I guess I can give you a pass on 50-yard Superfoot.
Yep. All right, boys. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, see you in about an hour.
All right. Thanks, man. All right. So, again, Live with Friday Night Drive here with Jimmy Musial and Kyle Nabors. We just got through talking to Steve Soucy about York and Nazareth. Yes, I don't have a doubt in my mind either that Nazareth is going to get back to the brand of football that we're used to seeing. It's just that it is such a tough schedule this season out of all the seasons past. Don't get me wrong, other seasons have been really tough, but this is just, again, a very, very much at a higher level than it's ever been.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know if I would agree that it's the highest level it's ever been. It's just it's tough every year for Nazareth, but they've shown that they can overcome this. I do want to go ahead and Neil, if you can cue this up. We got to get to a commercial break here. I can't believe we're already 2 hours into the second week of this, man.
This is absolutely crazy.
Let's get ready to go to a commercial break. But before we do, we got the play of Morrison's game-winning field goal here, 22-21. Their upset win over Princeton.
100% the highlight of that kid's season. I'm just gonna tell you right now. Unless he kicks more game-winning field goals down the stretch, you never know.
I mean, well, he is going to be the most popular freshman in school come Tuesday.
Absolutely. I don't see any doubts about that. But as Kyle was saying before that clip, we are going to take a quick commercial break here. So we will be back with more Live with Friday Night Drive.
Come to Candlelight Inn, home of the original Chicken George and Jan Sauce. Dine in, carry out, and catering available. Located in Rock Falls and Sterling, Illinois, as well as Clinton, Iowa. Come try our original Chicken George today.
like Reich.
I like Reich.
Since 2016, it's been my privilege to represent the people of the 63rd District. I want to continue representing you as an independent voice in Springfield.
I like Reich. We like Reich.
Need a roof, vinyl windows, or doors? Call R.E. Duchesne Construction. With an A-plus rating for the Better Business Bureau and servicing Will, Grundy, and Kendall counties, call R.E. Duchesne. 815-722-2821. Financing available. Find out more online at reduchene.com.
Come to Candlelight Inn, home of the original Chicken George and Jan Sauce. Dine in, carry out, and catering available. Located in Rock Falls and Sterling, Illinois, as well as Clinton, Iowa. Come try our original Chicken George today.
I like Reich.
I like Reich.
Since 2016, it's been my privilege to represent the people of the 63rd District. I want to continue representing you as an independent voice in Springfield.
I like Reich. We like Reich.
Need a roof, vinyl windows, or doors? Call R.E. Duchesne Construction. With an A-plus rating for the Better Business Bureau and servicing Will, Grundy, and Kendall counties, call R.E. Duchesne. 815-722-2821. Financing available. Find out more online at reduchene.
And we are back for the final hour, before After Dark, I should say, of Live with Friday Night Drive. I'm Jimmy Musial with Kyle Nabors. We have seen some pretty crazy games tonight. We've seen a lot of field goals from who we are now calling Superfoot. We've seen a game-winning field goal from freshman kicker. It was McDearman. Before Kyle gets to what he has to say, I do want to take this time to thank SGKR Law, our awesome sponsor, and also Candlelight Inn, home of the original Chicken George and Jan Sauce. Dining, carry-out, and catering are available locations in Rock Falls, Sterling, as well as Clinton, Iowa, and you should come try the original Chicken George today. I got it, so what do you have?
That was well done there.
Thank you.
I just sent the clip to Neil from Jake Bartlesen. Ryan Bowe is in, so we were wondering, was he back in the game?
Hey.
Ryan Bowe into the end zone gives Batavia a 14-13 lead. 8 seconds left on the clock against Lincoln Way East. We're going to have that clip for you here shortly. Man, that is crazy.
Oh, my gosh.
Let's see what else. Well, Neil, you got that good to go? All right, let's throw that one up there. Kind of hard to see from the other side of the field, but wanted to get that up there. Huge matchup between the number 3 and number 4 teams in the Friday Night Drive power ranking. Batavia taking the lead there.
So I do actually have to say Batavia did not take the lead. They are down 14-13.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, that's okay.
No,
That's why we've got each other here. It's okay. So
wait, are we waiting for a 2-point conversion try?
I don't know if we're waiting. I don't know exactly what we're waiting for, but I do know that
Jake said
was
Ryan Bowe in 14-13. Lincoln Way East, 14-13 Lincoln Way East, Batavia timeout. So now I'm wondering if that means we're getting a 2-point conversion try. Is Batavia going to go for the win here?
Well, that was a couple of minutes ago, so we're definitely okay. And here we go. Let's see.
Oh, they stopped it.
They did. They ended up stopping it. Okay, so Ryan Bowe attempted a 2-point conversion, and Eccles sniffs it out. 14-13 Lincoln Way East. 8 seconds left. I mean, look. The clip that Jake got was from the other side of the field, but for you to probably hear the environment of this, it probably wouldn't be a bad thing. So maybe we'll try to get that. We'll try to get that up for you here in a little bit.
Neil, do you have that from? Yeah, you got that up there already. Here we go.
All right, go ahead. Okay, when Jake said that the energy there was crazy, he was not kidding.
No, Batavia football is maybe favorite. I have to think about it, but it is certainly one of my favorite spots to be for high school football.
I have honestly, listen, I've never been there. If anybody wants to invite me, I'm totally okay with that, by the way, to catch a game, because I absolutely love the energy and the environment that stadium has, like every week. It is absolutely crazy. So thanks a lot, Neil, for getting that out there for us. Really do appreciate it. This is just I'm at a loss for words because look, last week was already a crazy first week, and I apologize I'm so repetitive with my wording. I don't have anything else.
Well, so, we knew going into this that this slate had a chance to be crazy. It certainly turned out that way. I want to go ahead and bring Josh Welge in quickly here. I'm sure Jake will be joining us soon here to talk about Lincoln Way East and Batavia. Josh, though, before we even talk about your game, York winning over Nazareth, man, what do you think about what's going on over there in Batavia?
Well, I knew that it was going to be a different kind of game than it was last year. Batavia, a lot of pride in that program, and they've had that game circling the calendar for quite a while. But not at all surprised, and they're teams that I think we're going to be seeing well into November. So,
how impressed are you from York after finishing that one up, man?
I mean, impressive to say the least. York comes away with a 42-13 win over Nazareth, defending 5A state champion. It was just a buzzsaw in the second quarter. First of all, York senior quarterback Sean Winton, he's a first-year starter. He threw for 4 touchdowns. They scored 28 consecutive points in the second quarter. They made 2 big special teams play, and then it was off to the races. And York is a program that, they reached the Class 8A semifinals last season. 9-0 regular season. They actually had IC Catholic Prep, their crosstown rivals, scheduled for this game. York coach Mike Fitzgerald said that IC's been wanting to play York for a number of years, and then York had the season they had, and then IC Catholic decided they didn't want to play York.
With IC Catholic joining the Catholic League this year, I guess I understand that.
Absolutely, no, I absolutely that. So they found Nazareth for week 2, and wow, just every phase, offense, defense, special teams. But, the kid that stands out, Sean Winton, the senior quarterback. They had a great quarterback last year, Matt Veza. He was a player of the year for our newspaper.
So, yeah, he had a tremendous senior year.
But Winton, they don't ask him to do a lot of things running the football like they did with Veza. Kid just makes plays. He had 2 third and long touchdowns. He hit with a 4th and long run. It just makes plays.
All right. Well, I can tell that you were doing the traditional sports writer run to the car so I can get quickly and write my story in front of deadline. So
that is correct, sir. Yep.
Yeah. I've been there on more than one occasion. So we'll go ahead and let you go, man. Thanks for jumping on, Josh.
Good night.
All right. Later, Josh.
Okay, so look, impressive to say the least, as Josh was saying there, for York to pull out that 42-13 win over Nazareth. And by the way, we do have a final.
I was just saying, did anything go crazy with Batavia?
It doesn't look like it. It looks like there was an onside kick, and Lincoln Way East recovered it. So final score of that one is 14-13. Lincoln Way East over Batavia.
We talk about special teams all night long here. I see Marion Central just tied up the game. They're playing. See, this is what happens when
Milwaukee Science.
Milwaukee Science. When you start going out of state, I really start to blank on the names there. Yep. But yeah, they have tied that game up with 32 with a field goal with 2:10 remaining in the game. There, special teams, man, big factor tonight.
Well, between 51-45 and then game-winning field goals by freshman kicker. Special teams definitely starting to become the theme of tonight. And by the way, speaking of Blazewski, I saw the final score. Lockport ended up taking a 37-22 win over Wheaton North. So Lockport ends up getting the win for week 2 for Johnsburg and Reed Custer.
That's where I was going next.
Okay, well, there you go.
Me to it.
So Johnsburg, A.G. Bravieri hits Ashton Stern on a 13-yard touchdown pass. This is from Tim Froelich, by the way. Tim, by the way, thank you so much for the continued coverage and the updates, because this is phenomenal. Johnsburg, 26, Reed Custer, 21 after the 13-yard touchdown pass from A.J. Bravieri to Ashton Stern.
I was really impressed by A.J. Bravieri last season, and he is off to a quick start to this season as well.
Absolutely. It's 26-21 at this point because the 2-point conversion did fail. But also Skyhawks try to catch the Comets napping with an ensuing onside kick, but that doesn't go well for Johnsburg. So now Reed Custer is at midfield.
Wait, so Johnsburg took the lead.
Yes.
In the fourth quarter, didn't get the 2-point conversion, and then went for the onside kick.
Aggressive is probably.
I tell you what, I love aggressive. But that is really ratcheting it up there. I will say, Coach Sam Lesniak is one of our scheduled guests here. If one thing it is, when you're doing a live show from 8 to 11 p.m., we have our coaches scheduled for tonight. We'll see which ones are able to jump on before we sign off this evening. Sam Lesniak over at Johnsburg did say he would stop in if he gets a chance. That game starting so late. I'm a little concerned, but if he does, I would love to know. Want to know
Absolutely. I would love to know. I would love to know. I would say.
So a little less than 8 minutes left in the game. You just take the lead. You go for the onside kick. I'd love to pick his brain on that one. I'm not saying it's the wrong call.
No.
I just would love to hear why that was the right time or why he felt that was the right time.
Absolutely. So we do have another game that is wrapped up here. Wheaton St. Francis wins 42-28 over Sterling. And I'm, you know what? And this is the last attempt that I'm going to make at this for the rest of the night. I'm not going to try it anymore, but Milivojevic, 5 total touchdowns, 266 yards passing. Holcomb with 3 total touchdowns, over 100 yards rushing and passing. So thank you very much, Dan Wuso, for the continued coverage throughout the night on that one. Wheaton St. Francis getting the good win, 42-28 over Sterling.
Yes, absolutely. Elsewhere, you got Barrington is really, really pouring it on, according to Gridirons here. 42-14 over Palatine. I'm not Palatine. I'm sorry. Prospect.
Yes. Palatine does have Buffalo Grove tonight.
Yeah,
I believe. So we haven't really been able to find much on that one just yet. But once we do come across it, we'll definitely try to get you an update. By the way, we do have some other scores that have wrapped up in the NUIC. Lena Winslow with a 32-8 win over Fulton. We got Forreston 18-8 over Dakota, Galena 49-0 over West Carroll, Dupec 42-0 over EPC, and Stockton with a 47-13 win over Hayworth.
All right, now we just got a final score here from Daily Herald Preps. Actually, our friends over at the Daily Herald tweeting Palatine 42, Buffalo Grove 17, a final there. Palatine, another big. Not another big win. Palatine lost that game late to St. Charles North. That was a game last week that came down to the wire. So a nice bounce back win there for Palatine, a team that I have really high expectations for.
I think, and the high expectations definitely come from the fact that they have so much experience that's coming back. I believe they have at least, I think when I was talking to Soucy, it was about 17 or 18 experienced players that are just coming back on a roster.
Off the top of my head, I can think of 2 Division I recruits on that roster. I know there's several other kids that have been getting looks at the Division I level. I mean, it's a loaded roster.
Yes, Palatine with a nice win to get themselves back on track here. The greatest catch coming in with a couple of scoring updates. I know you said Dixon won 29-20 over Oregon. Was that the?
I don't know if that was the final score. I do know that Dixon won that game. Okay. That is Dixon getting to 2-0.
So we have greatest catch here. Thank you so much for hopping in here in the chat. Dixon 29, Oregon 20. Dixon now 2-0 on the season, and then Byron with a 64-0
Sorry, Neil.
win.
I got a little antsy there.
You guys are. That was great. That was great. But 64-0 over Rockford Lutheran for Byron. Byron is now 2-0 on the season as well. So congratulations to Byron on a nice victory tonight. So also, if I'm not mistaken, let's see here. We have another update from Tim with the Johnsburg Reed Custer. So here we go. Game, just pretty much the way that he's summing it up is accurate. This game is wild. 26-21 Skyhawks, 4:52 left in the fourth quarter. Here's the thing. Reed Custer fumbles on a 3rd and goal at the Johnsburg 1, but
okay,
they end up recovering. They end up recovering their own fumble
at
the 1 yard line. 4th and goal from the 1 after a timeout. There's a huge moment coming up here, so we'll get more updates from Tim as they come. But Johnsburg still holding on to a 26-21 lead over Reed Custer.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, getting a little distracted here. There's so many games that we get into this last hour. They're starting to come in here, trying to keep up with everything.
Yeah, it looks like Grant Boxleitner. Thank you so much for chiming in here. Yes, Cary Grove did have that big win over Crystal Lake Central. Central looked like they were trying to threaten to score on the 25-yard line of Cary Grove, but it was an incomplete pass that ended up being ending the game. 17-14 in favor of the Trojans. Tigers are 0-2 on the season. Still have some time to bounce back, even though the Fox Valley Conference is going to be really tough again this season. But Cary Grove off to a nice 2-0 start.
Yeah, but there were some people, including us at Friday Night Drive, that picked Crystal Lake Central to be in contention. There were a few of us here that picked Crystal Lake Central to win the Fox Valley Conference. They've been right there in both of these games against Huntley and Cary Grove. But as we were talking when Joe Stevenson was on earlier, it's sometimes tradition just wins out a little bit here. Both close games, but Central just not able to get over the hump so far this season.
Well, speaking of getting over the hump, now we have Reed Custer, who has taken the lead over Johnsburg with a, let's see here, it looks like a touchdown run from Travis Bohawk. Scores on 4th and goal from the 1. The 2-point conversion is good. So now Reed Custer has a 29-26 lead with 4:42 left in the fourth quarter.
Well, there's time to score 3 or 4 more touchdowns in that one.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. But here's the other thing. I'm going to go ahead and send this clip over to Neil because I just want to hear the train sound again. I'm so sorry, Neil, but I feel like at this point we're not going to be doing it any justice. Oh, by the way, they would not have the train sound because it's Reed Custer that scores, not Johnsburg. Either way, if you don't mind putting up the clip, I'm so sorry. I'm so used to hearing it in my head now that it's just messing with me. But once Neil can get that clip up here for us, Reed Custer taking a 29-26 lead over Johnsburg.
Niles Notre.
All right, there we go. As we were saying, Reed Custer with the 3-point lead now over Johnsburg, but you did have an update on Niles Notre Dame.
Yeah, Niles Notre Dame, a winner over St. Patrick. I lost that score in the middle of the video there. I should have run. Oh, there it is, 24-14, Niles Notre Dame over St. Patrick.
Okay, and St. Patrick played St. Ignatius last week as well, so they still have they're in that realigned conference, and that's going to be really, really tough the rest of the way. So, but good win for Niles Notre Dame on that one. And still paying attention to Tim's feed here. I swear, I feel like I'm about to see something else come up in the next 2 seconds or something. That's gonna be some ridiculous play or something on special teams or something, because that's been the theme of the night anyways, here on Live with Friday Night Drive. And we want to thank you very much for joining us. We've been going at this for, a little, probably about 2 hours, probably exactly 2 hours now. But thanks a lot for staying with us. If you have, thank you to everybody who has been in the chat and has been giving us scoring updates. By the way, I do see one comment in here about Kenwood. I don't know if we were able to find anything on that.
I'm pretty sure that game was last night. Yeah, I couldn't. But let me double check that.
Yeah,
it was just a Kenwood comment. I don't know. The scores are coming so quickly. Let me double check that. Go ahead and I'll look up and see here.
Yeah, no problem at all. By the way, if from Brian Hoxie, actually, I did miss this a little while ago. Quarterback Colby Mortensen from Ottawa, 4 rushing touchdowns and 1 passing touchdown on the night to give Ottawa the 41-0 victory over Streeter. Streeter able to put up a lot of points last week, but ended up coming out against Ottawa and not being able to score. This was the 102nd meeting between the two teams. So as we were talking about earlier, a very, very long rivalry between two very, very prominent schools.
Here we go. Now that's fine. I've been trying to find the St. Rita Kenwood game that is taking place here. So it is. Let's see. St. Rita had an interception here a little bit ago. Noah Gerdenson with the pick. 26-14 St. Rita with 9 minutes left in that game against Kenwood. So
And and Kenwood definitely, one of the tougher programs out there, and definitely
in the CPL. So here's the thing. Traditionally, the CPL teams, the stronger team that have been up there in recent years, whether that's been Phillips, whether it's been Simeon, Kenwood has been on the rise here. Once they get into those CPL games, there's a lot of running clocks, right? And you've seen these teams, these high-level CPL teams, really start to branch out in these early season games and challenge themselves more, trying to get ready for the postseason. Played Lincoln Way East in week 1, this Kenwood team facing St. Rita in week 2. It's a tough schedule. They're looking like they're about to start 0-2 unless they're able to really close this gap in the closing minutes. But, this will benefit them come October.
And do we have an update on by any chance on Carmel? Who's that? Carmel Lake Forest.
Let me see if I can find that one for you there.
Yeah, we'll try to get that. We'll try to get that final or that score for you here if we can, because I think that the last score that we had was like 13-10 or something. But it was definitely really close.
I'm not seeing an update from that game.
Okay, no worries at all. Huge, by the way. Now we have we do have an update from Tim Frolig, Johnsburg, Reed Custer. Huge personal foul penalty on Reed Custer. The Skyhawks are at the Comets' 30-yard line with 3:22 left in the game. So Skyhawks threatening to score, especially after what seems to be could potentially be a pretty costly penalty.
This will not be the last score in the game if Johnsburg scores. It's probably gonna take it might take at least 2 more touchdowns for Johnsburg the way this is sounding here, because Reed Custer probably going right back down the field.
Let's see here.
This is turning into where I'm going to use a racing reference here, where like you're on a restart. Essentially, you have 1 lap to go and you're on a restart. You don't want to be in first. You want to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That kind of is the feeling you're getting with Johnsburg and Reed Custer. Get the ball back with about 45 seconds left and go down and drive and get the win.
Yeah, for sure. Because the way that we've been looking at this game right now, it just what seemed to kind of be a slow start. It was 14-7 at the half, and now all of a sudden, play after play after play, 20, scoring 29-26. It's been a roller coaster of emotions here. So by the way, we do have an update from the greatest catch for Carmel and Lake Forest. So Carmel is up 20-10 over Lake Forest in the 4th quarter. So greatest catch. Thank you so much for giving us that. We really do appreciate it.
Carmel with a good chance to get to 2-0 here. A win over Crete Moni week 1. A win over Lake Forest in week 2. That's 2. Obviously would be 2-0, but that would be 2 wins over 2 quality opponents. Carmel is a team that we really like coming into the season. Coach Jason McKee, former Bears fullback, running that program over there. A lot of positive talk about that. The Corsairs coming into the season, definitely coming to fruition. That's 2 good wins over there.
And we do have, looks like from Soucy, we've got 26-14 St. Rita with 5 minutes to go. So that's so there we go. Grant Boxleitner. Genoa Kingston has been a team on the rise in the Big Northern in recent years. I did not see this lopsided loss to North Boone coming, though.
Yeah, I did not either. I agree with you, Grant.
Yeah, that's hey, I mean, things, things happen, but at the same time, yes, Genoa Kingston, definitely one of the programs that, as you said, has definitely been on the rise. So, that's, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say they've been firmly in that second tier in the Big Northern Conference. I think Byron by itself up there at the top, but they kind of worked themselves up there with like Stillman Valley, Dixon also in that rotation, Genoa Kingston. I feel like I'm forgetting someone off the top of my head, but yeah, definitely surprising to see that loss tonight for GK.
And again, here on Friday Night Drive, Jimmy Musial and Kyle Nabors, we are coming up to the what feels like the end of the show, but you still got us for at least another half hour here. Got a lot of scores that are coming in, a lot of things that are wrapping up here.
And listen, when we sign off, the night is certainly not over.
Not by a long shot.
If you've been watching all night, you saw Soucy jumping in the car. He is on his way to get set up for Live with Friday Night Drive after dark. Soucy just breaking down everything he's seeing from around the state. You can stick right here on the stream when Jimmy and I sign off. Soucy will be jumping on with you guys. But outside of that, we're going to have a ton of content for you at FridayNightDrive.com tonight, tomorrow, all weekend long, all holiday weekend long. So stick there. Everything that we've been talking about tonight, you'll see game stories up at FridayNightDrive.com.
And please, I have to tell you, the content is so in depth, and there is so much detail that you can't help but just appreciate and love what these guys are doing. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal. The amount of coverage, the amount of, again, like depth and detail and just the storylines and everything. Please, you have to go check it out, because even though we're doing this live and we're giving you as much information as we can, the people that are actually out there in the field, and they're giving you like absolute gold. So just be sure that you go check it out on FridayNightDrive.com. Absolutely worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'll say this. My piece here is we got a lot of guys working hard tonight out there covering football. I'm really proud of the team that we're doing here, or what we're doing here at Friday Night Drive, expanding our football coverage. You know, local journalism matters. So if you're watching the stream and you haven't subscribed to Friday Night Drive, these guys are out working hard. We'd love to have you join FridayNightDrive.com. If you go to FridayNightDrive.com, up in the right-hand corner, you can find the button to subscribe.
And what do you know? We've got an update from Johnsburg. AJ Bravieri hits Ashton Stern with a 19-yard touchdown pass. 1:49 left in the fourth quarter. Neil was giving me the thumbs up. I think he might have the clip for us. Okay, Neil, go ahead. Thank you. So how many touchdown passes is that for Bravieri tonight? I mean, I was at 3 or 4, and then I think that's 2 touchdown catches for Ashton Stern. I mean, everybody's having themselves quite a night tonight.
I mean, that is the second time we've seen Johnsburg with a matchup on the outside against a smaller cornerback. It's so hard at the high school level when you have big-bodied receivers for high school defensive backs. When a quarterback like AJ Bravieri is able to place a ball like that on a fade route, it's really tough to defend that.
Yeah, definitely. And look, again, Johnsburg's going to be tough for sure. I mean, they had a win against Woodstock North last week, and now they're definitely making it. They're making it a game. Let's put it that way, okay? I mean, it's been a game for quite a while. And listen, I might have said that they just scored right there, but just stay put, because I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a lot more. But you did have an update that you put out there on the screen.
No, that's all right. It's just a score that I wanted to pop up there, since it was, if something like that, we don't have to get to every game there, but if I got a chance to throw it up on the screen,
definitely. Absolutely. It looked like it was Orion Chargers 56, Mendota Trojans 8. So classic country WGLC. Thank you so much for that. We truly do appreciate the contribution. We do have some more. Looks like some other scores that have been wrapping up, actually that are reposted from the NUIC. We have Merco with a 38-13 win over Peru St. Bede. Illini West 34-14 over Elmwood Brimfield. Farmington 45-20 over West Hancock. Knoxville Macomb. Knoxville with a 48-30 win. So there's some more scores that are starting to wrap up over there.
I'm just kind of like, I'm trying not to get too wrapped up now watching the updates coming from Tim Froelich in this Johnsburg game. Like, man, Johnsburg Reed Custer really going at it down to the wire here. A game that started a little bit after 8:00, going late night here. A lot of scoring taking place. Was it Johnsburg now up 33-29 last we saw with 1:49 left?
Well, here's the thing. There's no question about it. Tim is busy. He is definitely busy, and he's going to be even busier probably once this game goes ahead and wraps up. But Tim has been great the whole night. Really do appreciate him for giving us as many constant updates as he can, because not only is he giving us the updates, he's also getting it in video form for us to put on the stream. And it really, really does help us out to give you a visual of exactly what's going on, even though we ourselves can't be there. So again, Tim, just fantastic job.
I don't think most people understand
how difficult?
How difficult it is to cover a high school game. Like, there's not printed out stats. You know what I'm saying? Like, so anyone who is out covering a game for us has a clipboard usually in hand, keeping their own running stats, running play-by-play, is also trying to get video to us and tweet out updates. It's a lot of work on a Friday night. So thank you to everyone who's out on the field for us tonight, working their butts off.
And hey, what do you know? I have another update from Tim about Johnsburg and Reed Custer. However, Maddox Malachuk picks off a Reed Custer pass at the Comets 32. Then Brent Sentnarowitz takes this next snap 32 yards for a Johnsburg touchdown. Huge back-to-back plays for the Skyhawks. Now it is suddenly Johnsburg 40, Reed Custer 29 with 56 seconds left.
That's a big win for Johnsburg here to put that away here. It looks like they're going to escape in a wild game against Reed Custer. Reed Custer is a young team. They lost pretty much everything off the team from a year ago that was so talented. This is going to be a learning experience for a young Comet squad.
But yeah, and on top of that, for them being as young as they are, this has been an incredibly fun game. They have been battling, and it seems like they've just been battling and clawing to try and take leads. And then obviously with Johnsburg and the skill set of AJ Bravieri and Ashton Stern and his name escapes me already, but Brett Sentnarowitz. I mean, these guys are making things happen tonight. And it's so much fun to watch. And, as you said, a very big learning experience for a young Reed Custer team.
Well, one thing that happens every year in high school football is we're able to kind of guess some of the upper tier schools a lot of the time. Like, I can tell you Mount Carmel's going to be good, right? I can tell you Loyola's going to be good. I feel pretty good about Cary Grove and Prairie Ridge, right? The most exciting thing for us every year is when you get the teams like Johnsburg, who were coming off a decent season last year, wondering if they're going to take the next step. And when you see it here through the first 2 weeks, the Skyhawks playing well, it's fun. They're playing fun football right now. And
did we have let's see. Did we
got a couple more? I got a couple more finals for you here. We got Downers Grove North winning the Battle of Downers Grove. Downers Grove with a 35-13 win over their in-town rival South. Neuqua Valley with a 10-6 winner over Manuka, a low-scoring game there.
My boss from a couple of years ago actually went to Downers Grove South, and he when I was helping you guys with, your football coverage and stuff, he was asking about Downers Grove and all that other stuff and how South was doing and North. So that actually just made me think of him. So yeah, battle of the Downers Grove teams. I'm sure that's always pretty heated and everything. So a good one over there as well. And so I would really, while we're waiting for more updates, and please you can interrupt me with any scoring updates that you have. I have to ask about the Fox Valley. Is it possible that even after 2 weeks of what we've been seeing out of this conference, that we could be seeing the same 4 teams trying to duke it out for that title, or is there still that chance that somebody could sneak their way in and try to ruffle things up a bit?
It's hard to really say offhand. I don't have the schedules looking in front of me. So the way it's shaping up is kind of how you look at it again through 2 weeks. I'll go ahead and say Huntley is looking like the favorite. They're the 8A school. That size does play a factor. I've been impressed with the way Cary Grove is playing after bouncing back last season. Prairie Ridge, the way they played tonight, particularly in the second half to pull away against Crystal Lake South, I feel pretty good about those teams. I think Jacobs is going to be there still. They have a lot back from last year's team. So, yeah, there's those 4 teams. But I don't know if any of those 4 teams have shown enough so far that I feel like they're a step above where Crystal Lake Central and Crystal Lake South can't get them. And as Joe said when he joined us earlier, Burlington Central, it's the smallest school in the Fox Valley Conference by far, but they've been feisty since they joined the conference. I wouldn't be shocked to see them play spoiler. They did it last year a couple different times, picking up wins that we didn't really expect. So it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be wild throughout the entire season for the Fox Valley Conference.
Yeah. Well, listen. Speaking of wild, I mean, you also have the CCL that just got that got realigned, and of course that those teams are just going to be duking it out as well, which what I feel will be a heavyweight fight pretty much going forward until we get to state championship time.
Yeah, just seeing now Jacobs with a 28-7 win over Hampshire tonight. So Jacobs getting to 1-1 in the Fox Valley Conference.
Alrighty, there we go. So let's see here. By the way, it looks like Tim. Okay, so Tim actually had a pretty an insane stat. Basically said, my goodness, Rex Pfeiffer up to 226 yards rushing tonight for Reed Custer, who has the ball at the Johnsburg 14 with 25 seconds left.
And what's the score on that one?
The 40-29. The last
Okay.
post. The last post that I saw.
I mean, that is 226 yards. That's a hell of a night there. But looking like the Comet's going to come up short unless two scores in 29 seconds.
25.
I mean,
it's you got to pull off one heck of a.
It's been a crazy game, but I think maybe we're asking a little bit too much of Reed Custer there.
Yeah. But hey, great night for Rex Pfeiffer. Thank you very much, Tim, for that stat. Definitely showing some love to the running back. That's absolutely fantastic.
I say that, and there's an update. But yeah, Reed Custer gets within 3 points, 14-yard touchdown from Jacob Reardon. Jacob Reardon connects for Reed Custer on a 14-yard touchdown strike with 18.6 seconds left. The onside kick failed, though, so it looks like Johnsburg is going to be able to kneel this one out.
Well, there you go. I mean, listen, we did say Tim's got his work cut out for him tonight. I mean, that's and I can't wait to see when the story comes out, because just his posts alone probably won't do it any justice until you see the story come out on FridayNightDrive.com.
I'm sure Tim's hustling right now, but I'm going to go ahead and give Tim a virtual hug, because he's got about 30 minutes until we hit our print deadline for Northwest, and he's got to get that story in. So somewhere Tim is running to his car right now. I guarantee it. So that'll be poor Tim.
That's going to be the intro video for the journalist running to your car. That's going to be the intro.
I mean, we've seen a few of those tonight on air.
We certainly have. I mean, yeah, and these guys are all doing such great work to make sure that they meet their deadlines and everything. You guys are doing great, man. Seriously. It's a wonderful job.
Let's see what else we got going on here. We got a win for Libertyville 34-14 over Richards. Plano over Mantino 29-0. You got anything over there for us? You got Plainfield Central 15-12 over Matea Valley.
Okay, that's good. There we go. Trying to see if I can find any others. This is the part of the night where it's just where it's like, there's so many of them that have been flying in and everything that now we're just kind of trying to pick up the pieces and make sure that we can end the show on a good note. You guys have been fantastic, by the way. Thank you so much for tuning in to Live with Friday Night Drive. Jimmy Musial, Kyle Nabors. Did you mention Cronin Wheeling?
I did not. What did you have there?
I've got Cronin 41-7 over Wheeling.
All right, that's nothing too surprising there.
Yeah, absolutely. So we also have Schaumburg getting a win over Rolling Meadows 35-28.
All right, mid-suburban game starting to wrap up.
Yep, and Rochester over Springfield. They got a pretty big win today, 58-0.
All right. Yep, that's
is that we're used to seeing that from Rochester.
Well, I mean, Rochester, huge win last week against Peoria, putting up 40 unanswered points to start that game, then following it up 58-0 win over Springfield. I feel bad for any opponent in Rochester's path this season.
Richmond Burton getting a 25-6 win over Quincy Notre Dame tonight, and Sacred Heart Griffin got themselves on in the win column this week after losing to Normal Community last week. So Sacred Heart Griffin with the 35-17 win over, I believe it's called U-High. out there in
Normal U High,
Normal U High in Normal, because I actually used to that's where I graduated from Illinois State University, which God, it's the state finals are there too this year. I mean, come on, give me a break. But
here's a fun game to play with Steve Soucy is, so you get schools on the IHSA, the way they put them on there, right? Like, let's give a good example of, this is a really easy one. Like Cary Grove will be listed as Cary, right? Prairie Ridge is listed as Crystal Lake. You can start getting really obscure, particularly when you get to some of the small schools. If you start asking Seuss like the name of a town or vice versa, he can pretty much tell you the name of every school and where it's located in the entire state. It's really sick, actually. Like,
well, listen, I'm very convinced that he's not human. That's the thing. I mean, especially after talking to him today and him even helping me to get a little bit more prepared for tonight. I like everything that I asked was just like, yep, I got it. Yep, we're all good. So that's that's so many props to Seuss for that. And obviously, we had him on a lot for the stream tonight, but you're going to get even more of him for Live with Friday Night Drive After Dark, where he's going to be putting in all of his results, and you guys get to see the magic happen there.
Oh, I mean, it'll be just Seuss in his element is what that is. Him working through spreadsheets, working on a projection that you'll see live, a finished projection live at Friday Night Drive. We drop those on Wednesdays during the season. That should be up on Wednesday afternoon this coming week.
All right. We got some other final scores for you here. Hoffman Estates with a 42-0 win over Elk Grove. We also have, and I just saw it too, because I believe it was a win for Grant. Grant had a win over Glenbrook North, 21-14. And let's see here. I had a couple of others for you guys. We had Lake Zurich getting the 16-3 win over Glenbrook South, and Mundelein with a 42-17 win over Grays Lake North.
I'm sorry. I'm doing a little bit here. Tim Froehlich asking for a deadline extended. All right, give him a little bit there. Can't blame him for asking for that one.
Oh my gosh. And see that's the other thing too. I mean, look, I'm just looking at scores. I'm trying to put things on my whiteboard so that I can be somewhat organized. Kyle over here has to not only is he talking to me about football, but he is also helping others and trying to make sure that everybody has what they need in order to meet their deadlines. And as you just saw right there, Tim is asking for an extension. I mean, there's multitasking is an understatement for what this is. So again, thank you so much to everybody we hope you guys are enjoying it. And by the way, again, just one more time, I want to thank SGKR Law for being such an awesome sponsor for Live with Friday Night Drive. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
All right, well, let's see what other finals we got wrapping up here tonight.
Yeah, I'm taking a look here. Let's see.
South Elgin pulling out a close win against Glenbard East, 17-14.
Okay, there you go. All right, we're just gonna keep.
Well, while you do that,
scrolling on here, yeah, yeah.
While you do that, I'll go ahead and give a plug to all of our content once again at FridayNightDrive.com. We got everything you've seen from our reporters tonight. We'll have game stories. We've got photo galleries up there. Up there, you'll have tons of video. If you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, you can find us for Friday Night Drive. Also at FN Drive on Twitter, X. Jimmy, what's your Twitter, by the way?
My Twitter? Oh, yeah. Boy. My Twitter is at Jimmy Musial. And no, by the way, it's not missing a C. I totally promise you it's not musical. If you think about Stan Musial, the famous baseball player, used to play for the St. Louis Cardinals. If you are a baseball fan, spelled exactly like that.
How often do you get asked if you are related?
Oh, so many times. I do, actually. I get asked quite a bit.
I got asked if I was related to Jim Nabors the other day, which happens at least like 5 times a year.
Well, hey, but look, I mean, I think we were talking to Eddie Carifio about that what we talked about last week, and he said, "Well, you guys have the last names of incredibly famous people," and That was a great conversation with Eddie. But yeah, no, I get asked that quite a bit. I did used to play baseball as a kid, so anytime somebody saw the last name Musial on the back of my jersey, they definitely had some questions for me after the game.
The greatest catch with a checking in here, Shelbyville 44, Eureka 36 final down there. The greatest catch. Thank you, anyone. If you are watching live on YouTube or on Facebook, the Friday Night Drive Facebook page, you can jump into the comments, which we really appreciate. You can ask us a question. You can throw a final score or a score update in there. Anything you guys want to talk about, we are here to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have, let's see, trying to find some other final scores for you guys. Riverside Brookfield with a 35-27 win over Hinsdale South. We had Willowbrook with a 27-14 win over Glenbard North. We have Galesburg with 41-7 win over Limestone. And then Belleville East, 34-14 winners over Pekin. Bradley Bourbonnais with a 41-0 win over Thornwood. And Montini over Hillcrest, 44-24. And then I don't know if you called this out earlier. You might have, but Lincoln Way West, 28-18 winners over Oswego East.
All right. Well, we should go ahead and take one more commercial break here. We got 15 minutes left with this edition of Live with Friday Night Drive. We'll be right back here to wrap it up.
Need a roof, vinyl windows, or doors? Call R.E. Duchesne Construction. With an A-plus rating for the Better Business Bureau and servicing Will, Grundy, and Kendall counties, call R.E. Duchesne. 815-722-2821. Financing available. Find out more online at reduchene.com.
I like Reich.
I like Reich.
Since 2016, it's been my privilege to represent the people of the 63rd District. I want to continue representing you as an independent voice in Springfield.
I like Reich. We like Reich.
Come to Candlelight Inn, home of the original Chicken George and Jan Sauce. Dine in, carry out, and catering available. Located in Rock Falls and Sterling, Illinois, as well as Clinton, Iowa. Come try our original Chicken George today.
Need a roof, vinyl windows, or doors? Call R.E. Duchesne Construction. With an A-plus rating for the Better Business Bureau and servicing Will, Grundy, and Kendall counties, call R.E. Duchesne. 815-722-2821. Financing available. Find out more online at reduchene.com.
I like Reich.
I like Reich.
Since 2016, it's been my privilege to represent the people of the 63rd District. I want to continue representing you as an independent voice in Springfield.
I like Reich. We like Reich.
Come to Candlelight Inn, home of the original Chicken George and Jan Sauce. Dine in, carry out, and catering available. Located in Rock Falls and Sterling, Illinois, as well as Clinton, Iowa. Come try our original Chicken George today.
Live with Friday Night Drive, I'm Jimmy Musial alongside Kyle Nabors. This has been a fantastic show, something that we were looking forward to all week, especially with all the articles that were going out in the podcasts, and just the slate of matchups that happened tonight was nothing short of phenomenal, crazy, Superfoot, whatever you want to call it. It was absolutely wonderful. We do have another final score here. Dunlap 21-7 over Rock Island in the Western Big Six. Greatest catch. Thank you so much for that. Truly do appreciate it. Geneseo with a 27-7 win over Grayslake Central. Grayslake Central going 0-2 on the season so far after the loss to Bolingbrook in week 1.
Man, it really was a crazy week too. It's kind of hard to keep perspective because there's so much coming in, and I look forward to as we wrap up here and kind of take a breath and see the overall scale. And that's what Soucy will be jumping on here just in about 15 minutes, less than 15 minutes now, for live with Friday Night Drive After Dark. Soucy will be breaking down everything with you guys. Jimmy, you got any other finals that you've seen that we want to hit on?
Let me just take a quick look here. I do have Hersey and Fremd, 49-14. Hersey with the win there.
That is, Fremd was in a lot of close games last year. That is a tough assignment in week 2. I really like the way this Hersey squad is looking. Tom Nilsson has the Huskies playing well.
So one other score that I just came across, and this will be I think this could be the final. This will be the final of the night before we wrap things up. Mount Carmel with a 22-12 win over Morgan Park.
I'm sorry, one more on that one?
22-12 over Morgan Park.
That's a good showing for Morgan Park, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with Jack Elliott taking over at quarterback and and them putting up the numbers they did against East St. Louis. For Morgan Park to come out and only allow 22 points to what looks to be a very prolific Mount Carmel offense.
Well, I wonder if that's a case of a bit of a letdown game after you go down to play East St. Louis and beat that East St. Louis team in front of a huge crowd down at Illinois State University in week 1. You come back home, no coach wants to let down, but it's kind of a natural thing, I feel like there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, I want to say thank you so much to everybody who tuned in to Live with Friday Night Drive. It's been awesome. It's been fun. It's been exciting and thrilling, and literally I could go through literally every word in the dictionary at this point. Before we do head out, once again, want to thank our sponsors, SGKR Law, as well as Candlelight Inn. We'll be back again next week, but make sure that you go to FridayNightDrive.com throughout the week, and especially tonight for all the stories that are going to be coming out, the podcasts that are going to be pushed through. And Kyle, it was a lot of fun. For the one and only Kyle Nabors and myself, Jimmy Musial, I want to thank you again for joining us. We will see you next week for week 3 here on Live with Friday Night Drive. Have a good night.